Correspondent Ben Thomas has this report.
Chartreuse. It's a brilliant kind of greenish yellow.
But I knew they were trying to make it blue.
American flag blue was the goal of President Trump's $14 million renovation of the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool. But Patrick Hicks of Florida says,
I think it's an impossible task, having a pool myself.
The water in this area is very fine phosphate.
and fellow pool owner Dana Pace says,
It is prone to bloom.
teams of National Park Service employees and contractors have been deploying chemicals and ozone nanobubbles to keep the algae in check. Ben Thomas, Washington.
Tropical Storm Arthur is the first of the Atlantic season and threatens the southern United States with dangerous flash flooding. The National Hurricane Center announced the storm Wednesday and said Arthur would skirt over the Gulf Coast with heavy rain through Friday. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 507 points, the Nasdaq dropped 354, the S&P 500 lower by 91. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Health insurance rates are surging in America, leaving millions without affordable options. If you're sick of having paychecks eaten up by healthcare costs or dealing with mega corporations, then listen to this. Christians don't need to waste money on a broken system. That's why I want to tell you about Christian Healthcare Ministries. It's an alternative to traditional health insurance at half the cost. With CHM, fellow believers contribute monthly to help pay each other's medical bills. There's no enrollment period, so you can join anytime. And you aren't restricted to provider networks, so you choose the doctors and hospitals you want. It's that simple. CHM is not insurance. It's a ministry that puts faith into action. Feel the difference of financial support and biblical care from fellow believers. Join CHM today by visiting chministries.org/wellness. That's chministries.org/wellness.
Here's the Wall Street Business Report.
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update.
With great sadness and heavy hearts, I'm Chris Davis. That's the way the Air Force put it this morning when they made public the names of the 8 people killed in the B-52 crash at Edwards Air Force Base Monday. 53-year-old Colonel Gregory Watson, a weapons systems officer with Boeing and a reservist from the 10th Air Force Naval Air Station Joint Reserve Base Fort Worth, from Shreveport, Louisiana. 40-year-old Lieutenant Colonel Gabriel Estrella, a weapons systems officer with the Air Force Operational Test and Evaluation Center, Detachment 5, Edwards Air Force Base. Retired Lieutenant Colonel Miles Middleton, age 50, a pilot with Boeing from Tehachapi. Major Alexander Davis, age 34, a weapons systems officer with the 419th Flight Test Squadron from Lancaster. Major Robert D., age 40, a pilot, 419th Flight Test Squadron. Major Brad Hovey, age 35, a pilot, also with the 419th. Jeremy Smith, age 32, a flight test engineer with the 419th from Rosamond. And 41-year-old Christopher Richard, a flight test engineer and a contractor from Lancaster. A wreck last night near Ridgecrest is responsible for the death of at least one person, says the Highway Patrol, and also the closure of some roads there, which have been reopened. The wreck happened about 10:31 on Route 395 and Bowman Road, just west of Ridgecrest. CHP says at least 3 vehicles were involved, including a semi-truck, but they have not given details on how it happened. 3 slot machines were taken out of the Cloud9 Mini Mart on Brundage Lane by Bakersfield police in a raid Tuesday afternoon. They say they were responding to complaints from people who had gone in there and reported illegal gambling. But police say they also found illegal flavored tobacco being sold there. They cited one employee. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN.
To the rest of in a month from now, this Hollywood Big Shot's going to give you what you want.
Too late. They start shooting in a week.
I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse.
The Ralph Bailey Show. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN.
And I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant good afternoon to you, wherever you may be, however you may be listening, or however you may be viewing for those subscribing on YouTube. This is the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, and we're streaming live at currentradio.com. Chris Burdick is producing the show on the 17th day of June, and it's another busy broadcast. The president is leaving France, headed back home after releasing the message of understanding, and there has been an absolute consensus on this deal. Nobody likes it. Nobody likes it, except for the hosts at Fox. I was watching the 5 that comes on at 2 o'clock, and I was walking out the door, and they're in love with it. How far do you have to have your head so up the president's? Never mind. We'll get into that in just a second. KGT has released some of the names. It's really coming through Facebook, where family members of the 8 that passed away and Edwards Air Force Base in that horrific B-52 crash, they're releasing the names. Because again, family are really the ones that are releasing. It's not coming from the military. It's the 21st century. People are giving, prayers and condolences to friends, and therefore identifying some of the folks. And one of them was a local person, and KGT spoke with his wife. And I'll tell you something, you need to hang on. If you don't listen to any portion of this show, you need to listen to the first half hour and hear this bite if you didn't hear it from KGT, because she says something that could lead to massive litigation. I don't know if you're part of the military, you can sue the government, but I'll explain here in just a second. Then at the bottom of the hour, Ryan and Jennifer Van Allstine are going to join us. They are in the midst of their 4-part tutorial where they're basically trying to teach business owners what you should be looking for, what you may be lacking and not even realizing it, and just pumping up their incredible customer service, reliability, and just steady business. It's one of the reasons that they absolutely fuel our IT. We've been in bed with them now for almost a year at Adaptive Networks. We'll talk with them. Nick Ragone will talk with us live from Italy. He might be a little sleepy because it'll be about 2 in the morning. And we're efforting this interview because I lied to him. I did him dirty. I asked him to come on at 5, which is 4 o'clock his time, although I don't think that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2. Isn't it just 9 hours? I don't know where he gets 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, midnight, 1, 2, 3. Well, it's 3. No, it's 10 hours. I don't know. Well, it'd be in the middle of the night. And so I said, you can go back to bed. And he said, I'll do 1:15, which is 3:15 our time. But I'm not going to talk to him 7 minutes from now with a hard break at the bottom and Van Allstein's coming on. No. So we're going to call him at 4 o'clock. But if he can do 1:15, he can do 2 a.m. You know what I'm saying? If he wakes up, he wakes up. If he doesn't wake up, we've got some audio we're going to play of Manav Shah. Because I'm going to tell you something. I get excited at the majors in tennis, let alone a sport I actually play in golf. But let me tell you something. In my many decades of life, and they are multiple, I have never, ever, ever been as excited about a major championship as I am now, because in my many 6 decades of life, I have never watched a U.S. Open where a fellow that I have played with, a fellow that I consider a friend, just a good person, and a local kid from Bakersfield Country Club is playing in the United States Open 126th edition. And it is going to be fun. I looked up where he's starting last. He's in the last group, and he's got to play the back first, which isn't a big deal, I suppose. It just depends on the weather and which front is playing harder or easier. It just depends, but we'll talk with Nick Ragone about that. And we've got some audio from our interview with Manav before he left. He is the U.S. Open, by the way, is at Shinnecock Hills, New York, which good Google movie. Can you imagine flying in New York right now? Would not want to be there. The Carmelo Anthony story just won't go away. Just won't go away. Have you heard the latest?
I have not.
Latest twist and turn?
Uh-oh.
A rapper was arrested in the cemetery. He was arrested in the cemetery. Oh, I'm sorry. You wanted to know what he was doing in the cemetery?
Yeah.
He was urinating on Austin Metcalf's grave. This story just won't go away. And how do I put this? The portion of my race that tends to show its ass just continues. Just absolutely continues. And I've got some audio I'm going to play personally. I don't think I sent it to you, Chris, but I'm going to play it myself. And the Obama nonsense continues. I've got some startling. This kid from Wasco started something that I didn't see occurring, where now it's like a wave now, where I've got audio of this guy literally making his case. And it's not Alex Jones like we played yesterday, because Alex Jones, I played that because he's an idiot. And I'm assuming, well, I shouldn't assume. I really shouldn't assume. But I thought, perhaps carelessly, that many of you thought Alex Jones, or think that Alex Jones is a moron and a crazy nut job who claims that in video that he showed, along with the audio that I played for you, that you could see, as he put it, I've never used this term in my life, but that he could see Michelle Obama's ding-a-ling in her. She was wearing a silk one-piece suit. And all it was, and I'll be honest with you, have you seen that audio that I sent, that video? There's a crease in her silk outfit. And if you were really stupid enough to believe that she's a woman, despite the fact that she's had 2 children, the fact that she had to go to 2 hospitals, the fact that she has a gynecologist, the fact that she has a heterosexual husband, and that's part of the deal too. But now he's gay, obviously, if she's transsexual. But now there's a guy that's making an argument for it as if it's real. This is just stupid. This is racism at its finest. It truly is. And because the only other time we've ever seen anything like this is that wackadoo Candace Owens calling the French president's wife a man. We've never seen that before. Candace Owens is a nut. Okay. But now this thing is gaining fire. And you know what's fueling it? There's some audio of her talking with another man. I don't remember who she's talking with. And he's talking about his transsexual son. And he's talking about how he had to learn to accept that. And Michelle Obama says, I cannot tell you how much that warms my heart as a man. And then they cut it off. But the extent of the audio is, what she's saying is, it warms my heart that as a man, you are embracing your son. Because what she was alluding to, without alluding to, because I have no filter, and I've told you guys this flat out, homophobia runs rampant amongst black males, among black males. Not necessarily black females, but black males are incredibly homophobic. And she was just trying to point out that as a man, she was proud of you for embracing her son. Well, they've clipped it, and they're honestly trying to make an argument that she accidentally reverted back to her origins and referred to herself as a man. I mean, it just makes me not want to do the show. It really does, because I know there are some of you who are like, well, she's a man. Just like, is it August 3rd yet? Is it my birthday? Can I go on vacation now? Good God Almighty. What else is going on? Coming up at the 5, we're going to meet Darius Riggins. He is part of the program Amend, and he's the program manager out of Bakersfield College. He'll explain what that's all about. And I can't believe you didn't tackle me and interrupt the broadcast at some point with this news, because it's old news. I just forgot to talk about it. But you should have interrupted the show
Talking about the Williams?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. How did you not? Ralph. Hello, Ralph. Ralph.
Well,
I know you produced this thing, but damn, son. You're not going to mention the sisters that are playing at Wimbledon. They're playing at Wimbledon.
Called it.
You did call it. I'll give it to you. I will give it to you, Sim Salabim. You called it.
Too much money on the table for them not to do this. At a combined 90, too, by the way, at age.
What does that mean? Oh,
90 years of age.
Age. I thought that was their ranking.
Oh, no. That, although, could be.
This would be interesting. You know, I think, to be honest with you, I think Venus is a better player right now.
Yeah, she's been back longer.
Exactly. And she's in much better shape. And isn't that crazy? The full circle of life. The full circle of life. Because when they were growing up, Venus was the superstar.
Oh, yeah.
Venus was the one that had like 4 majors before Serena broke in. And then they both got on a certain level. Whereas I talked about last week when we first found out she was going to Queensland, the tournament before Wimbledon, they were in 4 consecutive major championships together. No. Not in the field. I'm sorry. That was poorly stated. They were in the finals together in 4 major consecutive championships. That's crazy. Because you got to put them in separate brackets. You can't put them in the same bracket, and then they face each other in the semis, and then one of them faces Ralph Bailey in the finals and loses 6-0, 6-0, and that's NBC is crying in their beard. No, you got to put them in the separate brackets so they can climb, and then bam, they reach in the finals. Well, that happened 4 straight times in the majors. And I think Serena won 3 of the 4. Don't quote me on that. Leave us go. We are just getting started on a busy Wednesday afternoon. I've never looked forward to the weekend more. These triple digits are just killing me. And I can't get my thermostat right.
Oh.
Like 78 is like too cold. It comes on too often. 79 and 80 ain't enough. Like 80, I start to perspire on the forehead.
Huh.
So I got to get up and I put it on 79. And then 79, I'm underneath a blanket. I can't figure it. I need a fan. And didn't I say I was going to get a fan?
Mm-hmm.
They were giving fans down at Compassion Corner. I'm a senior.
Mm-hmm.
Try would have ran me out of that corner so quick it'd make my head spin. Bailey! What? What? Every brother needs a fan. Quick timeout. We're just getting started. And then Allstines, Ryan and Jennifer will join us at the bottom of the hour. We're hoping Nick Ragone will wake up from his palatial Italian hotel or Airbnb. And then we're going to meet Darius Higgins. I think it's Higgins. I got to check my notes, but I can't read my own writing. I'm pretty sure that's either an H, a K, or an R. So we're going to meet Mr. Kiggins, Mr. Riggins, or Mr. Higgins. One of the 3. He's the program manager and amen to program that out at Bakersfield College, and he shall explain. And Shohei Ohtani won the ball game with one fell swoop or swing. Dodgers win 1-0. This is going to be a fascinating Cy Young race, Mr. Burdick.
Yeah.
While there's one cat, I think it's Ashby. Is that his name?
Ashby?
Is that his name? The leading, hey Siri, show me the leading winners in the National League. Whatever his name is, there's one cat with 9 wins. And then there are a host of players with 8 wins, including your boy, Mr. Senor Sanchez, Chris Sale, a number of big-name pitchers, and last night's winner down in Los Angeles, Justin Robliski has 8 wins. He's the leading pitcher on our staff with 1 more win than Yoshinobu Yamamoto. And he's got an ERA of 2.79. Shohei doesn't qualify because he doesn't have enough innings. But Justin Robliski, Cy Young Award winner? Crazier things that happen. But think of the guys that are in contest. Is it Ashby? Is that the guy with 9 wins?
Aaron Ashby.
Okay, there's Ashby. There's your boy. There's a kid from Milwaukee, Miz. They're not even talking about Skeens anymore. You got Roblisky, we got 3 contenders on our staff. Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Shohei, and Roblisky.
Kern Radio
Casey.
and AM 1230 KERN. First Look with Scott Cox, morning 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Thursday edition of the First Look program, we will chat with local psychologist Dr. Corey Gonzalez. We will have burritos, and yes, that second thing is better than that first thing. We will have state-of-the-art news and traffic, and yes, weather. It's not as bad as you think. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m. right here at News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
So I made it, y'all. I made it. I made it to Lawson's. I made it through the 102-degree heat. And then I got home and I opened up the chicken. It wasn't rib night, by the way. And I had chicken, a little macaroni and cheese. And I was just looking down on this. And I just kept thinking about KC Steakhouse. I had the funniest time on Monday. I think I told you about it, where the chicken breast, the Ralph Bailey, with the mushroom sauce, with the spinach and the creamy mushroom sauce, it came out flat, the chicken breast. And I thought it was like chicken fried, or had they fried this thing? And it ended up being one of the best chicken breasts I've ever had. Point being, not everybody's feeling steak. And a lot of people go to KC Steakhouse to celebrate anniversaries, birthday parties. So you got tables of 12, and not everybody wants the ribeye, or my favorite, the filet, or maybe even the New York. So expand on the menu, and that's what Chef Daniel has done. Try the Ralph Bailey, that chicken breast I talked about, that mushroom and spinach cream sauce, or any one of the fish dishes, the halibut, the mahi-mahi, the swordfish, or the lobster mac and cheese, or even pasta, the fettuccine alfredo. If I could eat that without my gout, I would munch on that. It is outstanding. Throw a little chicken on it, get it right up on its feet. Where would you rather be? Get out of the heat. Spend the weekend with the wife, the girlfriend, or your husband at KC Steakhouse, longtime sponsors of the Ralph Bailey Show.
Did you know termites can silently feast on your home for 3 to 4 years before you see any damage? They can literally eat a bedroom wall in less than 2 years, causing major structural damage to your biggest investment. Don't wait for the evidence to appear. Ryan's Termite is running an early bird special. If you know or even suspect that you have termites, get on Ryan's schedule now for an additional 10% off our already lowest price. All work is guaranteed. There's no money down and no contracts. Plus, in most cases, you won't even have to move or tent your house. Protect your home and save. Call Ryan's today. That's Ryan's Termite Control.com.
Meet Paul Sheldon's client, Dr. Roland Rodriguez.
Hello, this is Bakersfield General Surgeon Dr. Roland Rodriguez, client and friend of Mr. Paul Sheldon. It is my great pleasure and privilege to relate to all of you my absolute exemplary experience with Team Paul Sheldon. I have also referred a number of my colleagues to Paul Sheldon's office, only to receive the most stellar feedback from my doctor friends regarding the office's expert navigation through the complex maze that is Medicare. And even though Paul Sheldon himself is now facing some temporary health challenges, his longstanding and most experienced and expertly trained team of ladies, Christine, Ellie, and Lynn, continue to masterfully guide the clients through the complicated world of Medicare. You most definitely could not possibly do any better than to reach out to Paul Sheldon several months before turning 65. Thank you.
When Medicare matters, our team has the answers. Team Paul Sheldon.
398-2298. In 2026, Bay Alarm celebrates 80 years of security. For the Central Valley, that means local service including burglar and fire alarm systems, 24/7 in-house monitoring, and custom security designed to work with business operations. Bay Alarm has real people rooted in your community looking out for your business. After 8 decades and 3 generations of family ownership, our promise is still the same. We got you. Learn more at bayalarm.com.
Hey, it's JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, starting at 1 p.m. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
So I don't have, excuse me, I don't have a lot of time. But again, as I led with, no one is happy with this agreement that was released today, this 1.5-page agreement. And most people, including Republicans, I heard Ben Shapiro basically saying that he believes, and he's as conservative as it gets, and he thinks that the Iranians have won. They've absolutely won. What have they lost? Damage to their cities? Well, hell, they're going to get $300 billion to build back. And what else do you think they're going to do with that money? How can you give $300 billion to a regime that doesn't give a damn about its people? So what are they going to do with that money? They're going to spread it around the oligarchs and the upper echelon clerics and the IRGC officers, and they're going to reinvest in nuclear weapons. And anything they sign is worth nothing. Here's Donald Trump saying that we could get back after it, which I don't believe.
I let him know. I said, look, if you don't adhere to the agreement, I don't want to do that, but we're going to bomb the hell out of you. And I don't think that they're going to veer from the agreement. What else am I going to do? Am I going to say, I'm going to take you to court? Let me take you to court. Let me sue you. No, we're going to bomb the hell out of them if they violate the agreement. I don't want them to. I want them to honor the agreement. Again, the Straits close up. Bad things can happen. You know, in war, terrible things happen. Like you mentioned the question before about the school gets hit. Other things get hit. Bad things happen in war. War is a nasty place. I see it. I see it. I see it better than maybe anybody has ever seen it.
This was at the G7 before he left France. And I just think that's an empty threat. I don't see us bombing ever again. And certainly not in 60 days. Even Howard doesn't believe that. Even Howard thinks that this is a horrible agreement. That if you're going to start this thing, you should have ended it. And to think that we're going to end it on an agreement with the Iranians, with the IRGC, here's more from President Trump, who, by the way, is the cause of all of this lack of decorum. Do you know he was in front of the G7 alluding to the 2020 election? He was at the G7 alluding to Joe Biden being an inept president. I'm shocked he didn't bring up Michelle Obama. Like, what is that? You go out of this country. That's one of the things I thought we didn't do. I thought that's one of the things we squashed when the Dixie Chicks went to France and started bagging on George Bush. I thought we were secure in the fact that we don't go outside of our boundaries and bash our own country. It's like airing your dirty laundry out in public. That thing that what happens in the house stays in the house. You don't go around the neighborhood tell everybody your business. Anyway, here's more from the president.
The thing that's going to stop them from doing that, because you can't cover everything in a document, is common sense. They don't want to get bombed. They don't want to get hit. As far as sanctions are concerned, at some point, we have sanctions which will never let them rebuild. They would have no money. They would be in poverty. The 91 million people would starve. So something will happen as soon as they behave. When they behave, we're going to let that go. We're going to have to. I put sanctions on a lot of people and then I let them go. A lot of countries.
Yeah. And in 60 days, we'll be even closer to the midterms. And we've provided the Iranians with leverage because now they know that if they close the Strait of Hormuz, the economy goes nuts. And I'm sorry, I think they were playing fast and loose with the stock market. I think one of the reasons that he kept saying 40 times we're close to a deal is because the stocks would go up. They'd let them fall, and then he'd make a statement, and they'd go up, and they'd all invest the night before he was going to make a statement, and they would go up, and they'd make a fortune. I truly believe that. And I'm sorry, I'm at the point now, I'm looking forward to 29. I'm looking forward to the end of the Trump era. I'm looking forward to not putting former presidents on bodies of apes and okaying somebody saying that a former first lady is a man and reveling in the death of a former FBI director or calling a United States senator and a presidential candidate a loser because he got shot down in a war that Trump was too cowardly to even get involved in because he had bone spurs, right? He had bone spurs. That's why he didn't go to Vietnam. I'm happy when 2029 comes, other than the fact that I'll be a really old man. But beyond that, I'm looking forward to 2029. Quick time out. Looking forward to seeing the Van Allstines. Another one of my regulars about to go on vacation. We'll talk to them next.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The Federal Reserve kept its key rate unchanged Wednesday, yet nearly half the central bank's policymakers said they could support a rate hike later this year, an unexpectedly aggressive outcome that would disappoint President Trump and suggest heightened concerns about persistent inflation. A memorandum of understanding to be signed Friday by the United States and Iran calls for Tehran to, at minimum, dilute its enriched uranium and would waive but not permanently end sanctions on the country. That's according to U.S. officials who spoke on the condition of anonymity to read the draft language, which Iran has not released. The deal would also open the Strait of Hormuz toll-free for 2 months. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 507, the Nasdaq dropped 354. More details at SRNnews.com.
Maybe this is you too. There's enormous.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. Headlines from the KERN newsroom.
I'm Chris Davis. The 8 people killed in the Monday crash at Edwards Air Force Base as released today by the Air Force. And they are 53-year-old Colonel Gregory Watson of Shreveport, Louisiana, 40-year-old Lieutenant Colonel Gabriel Estrella, a weapons systems officer from Edwards Air Force Base, retired Lieutenant Colonel Miles Middleton, age 50, a pilot from Tehachapi, 34-year-old Major Alexander Davis, a weapons systems officer from Lancaster with the 419th, Major Robert D., age 40, a pilot also with the 419th Test Squadron, Edwards Air Force Base. Major Brad Hovey, age 35, a pilot with the 419th. 32-year-old Jeremy Smith, a flight test engineer with the 419th from Rosamond. And 41-year-old Christopher Risher, a flight test engineer and a contractor from Lancaster. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 at AM 1230, KERN.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2026 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
If the world were like a Sleep Number mattress, everything would adapt for your comfort. Because as your life changes and your body changes, Sleep Number mattresses adapt and shift to give you personalized comfort night after night. And right now, new mattresses start at $1,500 during our 4th of July sale. To experience a whole new world of comfort, visit the Sleep Number store or go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number. To a good life.
What's
sleep.
really going on?
First Look
What am I,
with
a woman?
Scott Cox,
Yeah.
morning 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Thursday edition of the First Look program, we will chat with local
well-mannered,
psychologist Dr. Corey Gonzalez. We will have burritos, and yes, that second thing is
I see
better
my
than that
name.
first thing. We will have state-of-the-art news and traffic, and yes, weather. It's not as bad as you think. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m. right here at News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
News Talk 96.1 and
You mean
AM
just hand it over to
1230,
you, basically?
KERN.
Yeah.
Hey folks, Scott Cox here, host of the First Look with Scott Cox radio program. You are listening to the Ralph Bailey Show right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
So what are we focusing on? Insurance and exposure? It's Wednesday. About to go gallivant around the world. Leave me in Bakersfield. Jennifer to my immediate left, and Ryan Van Allstine, owner-operators of Adaptive Network. Team that keeps us on the air. How are you people?
Doing well. How are you?
What are you eating? Liquefied broccoli? What is that you're drinking?
Oh, it's the greens and ginger drink at Jamba Juice. It's really good.
Boy.
Oh, healthy.
Yeah.
No, it's not really healthy.
Yeah, I don't drink anything green.
Delicious don't go together.
No, they really don't. They really, really don't. What are we focusing on? I've been pumping the folks up. This is part 2 of our 4-part tutorial for business owners that are trying to learn what they don't know, what they should know, and why you should rely on these people at Adaptive Networks.
That's right. Thanks, Ralph. So last time we talked about the warning signs, right? Revolving door attacks, the same problems over and over again, and just that feeling of dread. Today, we're going to talk about what IT should look like in 2026 and, kind of how to see if your provider's stuck in 2015 still.
Okay. What should your IT look like in the midst of 2026?
So in 2026, your IT provider usually should be looking at the new technologies, how they're being implemented, what the risks are to your business. Think about it this way. The world's changed a lot, right? We all made it through 2020, work from home, all these, drastic changes in how we work. And then, you fast forward a couple years and now we've got, AI. And AI is in almost everything. You can't go anywhere without hearing about AI and something. So what we're looking at is the threats have changed, the rules have changed, the tools have changed. Everything's changed. The question is the company protecting you? Have they changed with it, or are they still doing the same things they've been doing for the last 10 years?
And what's been your experience? More times
than not, they're doing the same things, sending those same invoices, and you're just kind of like, okay, and you happily pay them. But the thing is, the problem with that is why it's so dangerous is you don't realize you're stuck in 2015 because it's familiar, because it's comfortable.
Right.
So you as the customer, you're just kind of doing some of the same things, and we're using AI, we're using ChatGPT, we're working into our workflows, but we're thinking we're good. But what you're not realizing is that there's a huge gap there still. There's a huge gap in security and compliance. So as we're introducing new powerful tools, we're widening this gap. And AI really just kind of broke that gap wide open. And so everybody's trying to play catch up, but they don't really know where to start. So that's kind of where we're starting to look right now.
I think a lot of it is like people don't realize that their systems were old until it's kind of too late and it's blown up in their face.
Yeah.
And then that's usually when I have to come in, especially, and like sit across the table from somebody, and they're not mad about the technology as much. It's just they're mad or embarrassed or scared, just that they didn't see it coming. They weren't warned. Nobody told them about this.
Right.
And so they don't want to be blindsided. They want to protect themselves. They want to know they're protected, but of course they don't want to be blindsided.
It's like going to your mechanic and you finally go to a different mechanic and he says, they've just been changing your carburetor for the last 5 years.
Yep.
Just been giving you a new carburetor, and that's caused this problem that you didn't even know about. And you think everything's okay because you trust this guy, and you're being taken down the river.
Yeah. So the technical reality, let me give you the technical reality. So a business calls us, say they're frustrated about something small, there's a slow computer, password reset, whatever. Well, we go in there and we find out real quick that they've been operating without any multi-factor authentication on their email. They've got backups that have never been tested, so they don't know if they can actually recover from a failure. And they've also got a cyber insurance renewal that's sitting on their desk that nobody knows what the requirements are. There's a whole list of requirements now that you have to do for cyber insurance. Nobody's even read.
Really?
Yeah, it happens all the time. But here's the bigger trap. It's not the cyber insurance policy that nobody's even read about, what you have to do as a client. It's actually those quiet exclusions that they put in there. You might not even be covered for the loss and not even know it. So you could be paying thousands of dollars a month for your insurance policy only to find out when the time comes and you need it, you're not covered.
Wow. How does that happen?
Well, what happens
is
is
just bogus IT companies that aren't telling them what's going on, or are they just ignorant? Or
well, sometimes the conversation just doesn't take the right course. So if I, as a client, go to my insurance broker, right, and my broker says, "Hey, you need cyber insurance," you're like, "That sounds great,"
course.
and they've kind of told me, "Yeah, you've got to have it." Well, they're not the technology expert, so they're not going to understand necessarily all the gaps in the technology and how you use it, and if systems are upstream or they're downstream or what's covered. So let me give you an actual example of what that looks like. Is we run across, I've got a couple different examples, and one was a client that had cyber insurance, like they should,
Right.
doing the responsible thing. They've had a policy, worked with their broker, done everything right. Well, the day comes when system goes down, system fails. It's not their system though; it's an upstream vendor.
Well, what does that mean?
Well, you got a software provider. Say that you run your entire business on Google.
Right.
Use Google Sheets or something like that.
Right.
And Google goes down, say for 2 weeks for some reason. I know it would never happen with Google, but this is not Google. This is another vendor.
Sure.
They go down, but it wasn't a week. It wasn't 2. It was a month. So they were without one of their core business systems for a month.
You've seen that happen?
I've seen it happen. Not with our client, but I've seen this happen. I've heard the horror stories. I know of these actually happening. And they find out they weren't covered for it. Just because there was one little exclusion in the policy that was like, hey, do you guys want this little bolt on? Nobody knew they needed it. So they never had it in their policy. They weren't covered. We've seen another.
That's tragic.
It's tragic.
That really is.
It was a month. business down for an
How
entire
do they run a
month.
business without IT for a month?
You hurt. It hurts. I mean, you call people, you got to pay those extra wages. People
Yeah.
have to come in overtime. You make it work. I mean, businesses make it work.
You got no choice.
It's painful though.
Yeah.
Nobody, once you do that once, you're not going to do it twice.
Ain't that the truth?
So that's just one example right there.
Wow.
It's a similar situation. It has not IT, but an example, because insurance ultimately they don't want to pay out, right? That's their job.
Oh yeah.
So for our honeymoon, we had booked first class tickets to Bali, very excited. And then we bought travel insurance, thinking we're responsible, we're doing the right thing. And 2020 hit, and that's when we were supposed to have our wedding and our honeymoon. And turns out global pandemics were excluded from travel insurance, and we didn't know this. And we had booked, it was a foreign airline, not an American carrier, and we lost it all because it was global pandemics were excluded. They shut their call center down. I mean, I was ticked. I was calling everybody I could to try to get some money back. And
she's getting senators, congressmen on the phone. She was like not leaving any.
Yeah, I'm like, they touched down on American soil. They're subject to American laws. But yeah, I was mad. But it's, imagine that this is not your vacation, right? Imagine this is your business. This is your payroll.
Feed yourself.
Yeah.
Good.
Your employees, your everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, it's somebody, maybe they built their business. It's a 20-year-old business, and it's just, they're hit with this giant bill, and they're not covered. And it's, the worst week of their life. And they thought they had a safety net. Turns out their safety net is full of holes. It's scary situations. So our recommendation is definitely to have your IT provider on the same side of the table as you when you're looking at these cyber insurance policies, making sure, we do that with our clients is they'll send us their policy, and we'll go through and make sure that their systems, match what the policies cover.
Yeah. Ask a couple more questions and just make sure that, last thing you want is to have the insurance and it just not cover you when you need it. I mean, you built a business around, mitigating risks. And it's like, okay, here's a risk. I saw it. I mitigated it, only to find out that you never actually mitigated the real risk, or you didn't see the most important piece of it. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, that's just a big one there. So
that's like driving your car and you finally get rear-ended and you think you're covered, and then no, you're really not. You gotta pay for it yourself.
Like, you're only covered if you hit somebody, not if they hit you, right?
Exactly.
Vice
crazy.
versa. So, yeah, and then the next one is we said that the tools have changed. One of the tools of change that everybody's talking about right now, we've mentioned a number of times, is AI. But I want to take a little bit different spin on how AI plays into if your provider is really doing the things we need to be doing in 2026, or if they're still stuck in the past. And what that really is at the end of the day is how we are addressing data. So what we used to do in the past is we protected your data. We protected it with backups. We protected the availability of your data. So we have data on systems, and obviously the systems go down. My data is no longer available. That's a problem. I can't work, right? Just like that example of their systems went down, their data was no longer available. And everybody does a good job of protecting that. We protect it with backups, and something happens, we restore from backup. But what a lot of people aren't really thinking about now in this AI era is the confidentiality of the data. So it's easy to protect the availability. Confidentiality is a totally different conversation. So now what we're thinking about is, how do we keep that data from leaving our systems? How do we keep it from leaving from a bad actor doing bad things, or even worse, a good person just trying to do their job better?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Are they tapping into AI, or is AI providing that information?
Well, a good example would be, like Ryan was saying, like it can be an employee that's maybe using ChatGPT.
Right.
The free version, trying to learn how to do their job fast, or trying to do their job faster,
trying to write memos or something.
Yeah, nothing malicious, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're just trying to help out, and now you're exposed. You have customer information, or you have different information that's now on the free ChatGPT. It's not protected, and your data and your information is exposed, and that employee, wasn't trying to do anything bad. They just didn't know what they were exposing the company to. And ultimately, the business owner is the one that's going to have to make those phone calls and pay the ultimate price if needed,
Right.
if they have to.
And you guys can stave that off before it even occurs.
We are working with methods to stave that off before it occurs. Yes, there's a multitude of ways, from training employees to locking down sensitive data, making sure it's only available to the people that need that data. There's many different ways and new methods that are being developed right now, because as an individual, if I've got, a whole bunch of data in front of me, I might not know where it all is, right? So there's a little bit of like security by obscurity. I just don't know where it is, therefore the data is not available to me.
Yeah.
But when you throw an AI at it, it can go thumb through all that data and just get the cliff notes of it in, seconds now. And then all of a sudden it's looking at payroll data for employees, and you're not in the payroll department, et cetera. And so we start seeing these data hygiene practices that nobody really paid too much attention to. All of a sudden they're coming to the forefront. So the stuff that's not as exciting is where a lot of the risk now lives, in that data, and making sure it doesn't get exposed to the wrong people.
And isn't the employee putting himself at risk? Because now he's digging around in places that he didn't mean to. But if I go into our IT and I stumble into our payroll, I'm going to be called into HR. Like, what the hell are you doing, Ralph?
You could. You go look at the logs and you go, hey, why does it show that, Johnny over there was messing around in these folders?
Yeah.
And it could just be something, on his computer, the AI just going and, working through them. So those are the modern problems that we now have to address, and businesses have to think about.
That is incredible. That is incredible. I'm running out of time. I will leave you to sum this thing up and tell the folks why they should jump on Adaptive Networks, as American General Media has.
Yeah. So if you find you're in any of those positions and you're just wondering, like, are my guys keeping up? Are they really, are they up to snuff on, all the new AI developments and cybersecurity and compliance? If you're wondering, then start asking some questions. One of the easy questions you can ask, and I'll just leave with this, is this you can do as a business owner, not a cybersecurity expert, not a technical person. Just ask your IT provider, hey, if we had a serious cyber attack, walk me through step by step what we would do. Not do we have backups, not are we protected, but walk me through what actually happens day zero of that cyber attack. I want to understand how we come out the other side relatively unscathed. I want to make sure that my business is successful after a cyber attack. And that's something you can do tomorrow morning. Just pick up the phone, give them a call and say, hey, I want to understand this. Have you guys played it out? Do you have a plan? What's your plan for my business? And I think a lot of people will be surprised when they make that call, because I don't think a lot of people have the answer to that.
And they're listening for specifics to that answer.
And then when you get off the phone, dial 661-241-0638, speak to one of the Allstines, and get with a real team. Get with a real team that's going to stave off the problem before it occurs, just like we have. I stress this every time I talk about these folks. We're a radio station. We absolutely depend on our IT. And again, that's why we got in bed, figuratively speaking, with the folks at Adaptive Networks. Now, the real question that everybody wants to know, where are you going now?
Actually, so this is pretty cool. We are going to a conference, an IT conference in Nashville. So we are bringing the family. We're going to make a little miniature trip out of it, vacation out of it. But this is a really cool conference. It's with, among the top 5% MSPs globally.
Really?
And Adaptive Networks is there. We are among the top, globally. And we certainly, of course, in my opinion, are here locally. I think we're the best MSP, in Kern County.
Clearly.
Maybe not the biggest yet, but certainly the best. And so, we go and we get to talk to these other MSPs and see what they're doing, what threats they've seen coming, and trying to stay ahead of the game and see what's coming, after the businesses in the big cities.
Ever had grits?
No.
No, I don't think so.
You gotta have shrimp and grits.
Shrimp and grits.
Well, I would have shrimp. I would have eggs and grits and bacon. That's traditional. But for folks that are trying to get used to it, try shrimp and grits. Little butter, little salt.
Okay.
You'll love it.
All
I love it. My sister was born in Nashville. Oh, great town. We're gonna have a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Grain,
yeah,
right? Grits. They're grain.
Grits, yeah. It's like kind of like oatmeal, but not really.
Okay.
Little what's the word I'm looking for, Chris?
Grainier.
Yeah, a little grainier.
Okay.
Well, exactly.
We'll give it a try.
Shrimp and grits, trust me. But throw the butter in there and just a pinch of salt.
Okay.
All right.
Trust me on that.
Sounds good.
Gentlemen, Ryan at Allstine. Quick time out. Again, their number 661-241-0638 or hit them online at adaptivecashnet.com. Quick time out. We'll check the board real quick, and then we're off to Italy, where another regular is gallivanting around the world. We'll talk with Nick Ragone about the U.S. Open, where local boy Autumn Shaw is getting ready to tee it up tomorrow at Shinnecock Hills. Quick time out. Coming right back. It's TRBS on a Wednesday, right here on News Talk 96.1 at AM 1230. We're streaming live at kernradio.com. Sweet. Lisa. Oh, it's Venus Williams' birthday.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1.
He's calling in
and
from Italy,
AM
yes.
1230. KERN.
He was in Capri.
First Look
This
with
guy-
Scott Cox.
oh, this
Morning
guy has-
6 to 9 a.m.
On the Thursday edition
Looks
of
like
the First
1
Look
o'clock.
program,
Yeah,
we will
yeah,
chat with local
yeah.
psychologist Dr. Corey
told him I
Gonzalez.
asked
We
him
will
to
have
5. He
burritos,
said,
and
"That'll be
yes,
like
that
3,
second
4 in the
thing is
morning."
better than that
was
first thing. We will have state-of-the-art news and traffic, and
good.
yes, weather. It's not as bad as you think. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m. right
Yeah.
here at News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
News Talk 96.1 and
When I was a
AM
kid,
1230.
I was 17 the year before my
KERN.
senior year.
Every Thursday at
based in
4:30,
Geneva.
Daniel
Spent a
Petrie
week in Geneva,
lightens up
which
the
was
broadcast
unbelievable.
with his
Took
incredible
a
wit,
train through Switzerland,
pure intelligence,
ended up in
political
Bern,
knowledge,
which
and
is the capital,
obviously
not Zurich,
an
not
absolute
Geneva,
master
but
of
Bern. Then we
economics.
went to
That's why he's
Zermatt,
such an
where
important
the
cog of
Matterhorn
his
is,
broadcast.
saw the
You
Matterhorn,
can hear him even on some
where
of
I
his
was
off
17,
days
first
when
time I
there
ever had,
are financial movements that we can't explain. We
I
lean
do.
on my man from Messmaker
And
and
I
Petrie Wealth
just
Advisors.
berserk.
And of course, you know what they are all
Swiss
about. They're
cheese
all about
from
retirement.
Switzerland
I've turned at
ain't
least
even
3 or 4
close.
different
The
people
chocolate
on to
and the
Messmaker
and the
Petrie
Swiss
Wealth
cheese,
Advisors, and they
it's like a
could
different
not
product
be
from what we're
happier.
eating.
You could be happy as well with your situation
Yes,
in
it's
terms of the
what the hell is
fourth quarter in
this?
your life.
And I've
If you
got
call
the long fork, and I'm just like,
395-9400, 395
I prefer the cheese to the chocolate.
9400, the
Chocolate
offices
cheese.
of Messmaker
And
and
as
Petrie
sweet as
Wealth
cheese I had even
Advisors.
as a teenager.
This broadcast is for
I was
informational
eating
purposes only and does not constitute investment advice or a solicitation for advisory
Oh, it
services
was
by Daniel
beautiful.
Petrie or
The cleanest
MPWA
place I've ever
Incorporated,
seen.
DBA, Messmaker, and
I
Petrie
mean,
Wealth
it's
Advisors.
just-
The program host is a client and
just
receives compensation and other financial
spotless.
benefits in connection with this advertisement, creating a conflict of interest. Experiences discussed
Really?
may not be representative of other clients.
And then we did a 3-day canoe and kayak trip on the Cornish River.
Every
You
day
ever heard
is
that
sail
story?
day.
Where I could have lost
No
my
one
virginity
can beat us, no
on the
one
banks
can
of the
touch
Cornish
us.
River.
You won't find
This French
better
girl was all
prices.
over me.
Shop and
We spent
compare.
the day together.
We don't care.
Because we
Take
would,
a look
we would kayak all day.
and come
Sun
into Carpet
pull over
Outlet
and get us some of these hot sweets. Feed us.
Every day is sale
Because we
day.
had to move about 12.
Carpet
16
Outlet Plus is celebrating 30 years in business by offering you no interest financing for 12 months. Head over to carpetoutletplus.com to apply now. You can get new waterproof flooring and comfy carpet in the bedrooms, all from one trusted place. Over 70,000 customers can't be wrong. It's probably been time to change your floors for a while, so call, click, or stop by today. Carpet Outlet Plus, 3.5 blocks west of 99 on Rosedale Highway.
I mean, fucking and I'm 17. I've never seen this.
Before you road for the
Gotta go.
holidays, make sure your car is ready for the journey. Kern Oil
I gotta
Change
go.
keeps your engine running
there's
smooth
something
and
back
your
at the camp.
family
I gotta
safe.
go.
No
And then I
appointments
take
needed.
like 10
Just
yards.
drive in and their
and I come
fast,
back and
friendly
she's like,
team
"Oh,
will
you
get you
changed
back
your
on the
mind?"
road
I
in
go, "No, I
minutes.
forgot my
Don't
wine."
wait till you're stuck on the side of the road. Stop by Kern Oil Change today
It's
and
like,
travel
damn,
with
that was a
confidence
great
this holiday
story.
season. Kern Oil Change has 2 locations that serve you: 3706
Yeah.
Cockney Road and
With a
5651
Parisian girl.
Auburn Street. Kern Oil Change is open 7 days a week. Follow us on Instagram for additional savings.
Hey,
I
it's
mean, this is
JR
the late
Forrest.
70s.
My
Girls
show, the
didn't walk out
JR
with their
Show,
hair
starting
not-
at 1
with
p.m.
legs
Now
not shaved,
back to the Ralph
let
Bailey
alone-
Show on News
I
Talk
just
96.1
I just freaked
and
out and couldn't
12:30.
about 3 or 4 years. I don't remember a thing from Nashville. I'm 4 years older than my sister, and she was born there, so I was 4 years old, and I think we left when I was, Treese was born in 66. So yeah, we left that year after my sister was born. My dad was there going to Meharry Medical School, and we moved to New York. From there, St. Albans, Queens, where my dad was stationed, and we lived there till like 70, 71, and then moved to Cerritos, California, and lived right on the corner from the Sewsburys and the Williamses, and where we had lived with the Williams. We were next door neighbors to the Williamses on the base. And then, like I said, I've always, whenever I allude to my parents, I just think it's an amazing story about these group of doctors that got together and basically spent their whole lives together. They went to med school together. They served in the Navy together. They all moved from New York to Los Angeles, and we lived in the same neighborhood. The three families, the Sewsburys, the Williamses, and the Baileys. And then they all started making money about the same time because they were all going through their internships and their residencies at the same time, not making any money. And then about 30, 31, when I'm like 10, 11, and I get catapulted into private school out of Joe A. Gonzalez Elementary to the Buckley School, where I'm sitting next to Michael Landon's daughter and Quinn Martin's son, and John Gable's son is in the back of the room. And part of the group went to Palos Verdes. We went to Ladera. Then my family finally moved up to the South Bay. But it's an amazing story how these guys all stood together. And I'll tell you, that's the only time during my dad's funeral that I cried. I got through my nephew's eulogy. I got through my eulogy. In fact, my eulogy was fun. I told the story about how the last time I really sat down with my dad was at one of my nephews, my oldest nephew, Chris, who's now damn near 40. We were at his Little League game with Roxanne. And my dad was saying, my dad had lost a lot of weight. And he was sitting in front of us. Roxanne, we were on the bleachers. And he was sitting in front of us. And you know how you lean forward and, you know, the shirt kind of rolls up and you can see the crease of your underwear. And Dad had on these red hot kind of bikini looking underwear. And I didn't catch it. I'm not looking at my dad's ass. But Roxanne kind of elbowed me in the ribs and was like, these bright red draws that my dad had on. And I was like, should I give him a hard time? She was like, no. Should I give him a hard time? Ralph, don't do it. Hey, Pop, those some sexy draws you got on there. And I swear to God, this is what my dad did. This is what my dad did. I just kept watching the game. Just kind of looked at me like, boy, I brought you in this world. I'd take you out right in front of your girlfriend. Looked at me like, really? You're 34 years old, 33 years old. You talk about my draws. Boy, focus. We headed to the 4. We're off to, where are we off to? Italia? Talk with our good friend Nick Ragone as the 126th U.S. Open, including local boy Manav Shah, gets underway in the morning.
Kern Radio, AM 1230, KERN. 96.1 FM, K241CI Bakersfield, an American General Media station.
Hour from Town Hall, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. President Trump says the agreement with Iran should be signed shortly.
Tomorrow, maybe the next day. Thank you. Subject deals. My whole life is all about deals. That's all I ever did is make deals. And crazy things happen with deals. I've gone into deals where it's a guarantee. No way it can not be signed. And it doesn't get signed. And I've gone into deals that you have no chance of making, and they go like nothing. So, but we're going to most likely sign.
We're going to call him early because we might have to call him twice.
Agreement by the United States and Iran calls for Tehran to, at a minimum, dilute its stockpile of highly enriched uranium. The deal would also waive but not permanently end sanctions on the country. It will be a very closely watched governor's race in Georgia now that the Republican candidate who will be running against the former Atlanta mayor has been chosen. Correspondent Laura Winters reports.
Former Atlanta Mayor Democrat Keisha Lance Bottoms, who has very close ties to the Biden administration, will face Georgia Republican businessman Rick Jackson. She tells CNN that she would put Biden up against Trump's record any day of the week. Georgia remains one of the country's most evenly divided battleground states, with voters in rural areas predominantly voting Republican and major cities like Atlanta, where voters mostly vote for Democrats. President Trump won the state in the last election cycle. Republican Governor Brian Kemp cannot run again due to term limits. Laura Winters reporting.
The Federal Reserve kept its key rate unchanged Wednesday, yet nearly half the central bank's policymakers said they could support a rate hike later this year, an unexpectedly aggressive outcome that could disappoint President Trump and suggests heightened concerns about persistent inflation. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 507 points. More at townhall.com.
The following is a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
When I was feeling the stress of too much credit card debt, I looked at two different options: debt settlement and debt management. They may sound the same, but guess what? They're not. Debt settlement seemed like a quick fix, but I found out it would destroy my credit, create tax headaches, and hit me with huge fees. They actually told me to stop paying my bills. No way, not me. Then I turned to a debt management plan developed by the team at Trinity. They worked with my creditors, lowered my payments, reduced my interest, saved me thousands, and paid off my debt. And Trinity is a Christian company, which is important to me.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
My name is Heather. Please forget debt settlement and remember Trinity Debt Management.
1-800-990-6976.
Senator Bernie Sanders is
from the KERN newsroom. Your live and local news update.
You didn't answer?
The names of the 8 people killed in the Monday crash. I'm Chris Davis. Those names have been released by the Air Force, and some of them were from California. Here are the names. 53-year-old Colonel Gregory Watson, a weapons systems officer with Boeing and a reservist assigned to the 10th Air Force Naval Air Station Joint Reserve Base, Fort Worth, Texas, from Shreveport, Louisiana. 40-year-old Lieutenant Colonel Gabriel Estrella, the weapons systems officer with the Air Force Operational Test and Evaluation Center, Detachment 5, Edwards Air Force Base. Retired Lieutenant Colonel Miles Middleton, age 50, a pilot with Boeing from Tehachapi. Major Alexander Davis, age 34, a weapons systems officer with the 419th Flight Test Squadron in Lancaster, California. Major Robert D., age 40, a pilot with the 419th, also from Edwards Air Force Base. Major Brad Hovey, age 35, a pilot from the 419th Flight Test Squadron, Edwards Air Force Base. 32-year-old Jeremy Smith, a flight test engineer from the 419th from Rosamond. 41-year-old Christopher Richard, a flight test engineer, Lancaster,
me at
California.
4 in the morning, 5 in the morning.
Illegal gambling and illegal smoking were both happening at the Cloud9 Mini Mart on Brundage Lane, say Bakersfield police, who busted that establishment and one employee Tuesday afternoon just before 2 because of complaints from customers, says the police department. If you've noticed a drone flying around Waxco, that may be the drone that's being tested by the police department, which is part of their new drone program they say they will be putting into effect soon. The drone can go ahead of police and fire personnel to emergencies, getting there a lot faster and sending back vital data. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Welcome to the rest well in a month from now, this Hollywood big shot's gonna give you what you want. Too late. They start shooting in a week. I'm gonna make them an offer they can't refuse.
The Ralph Bailey Show. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
And I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Hour 2 of the broadcast. as we attempt to contact live from Italy our good friend and golf aficionado, Nick Ragoni, as my phone likes to pronounce it. Tira is the woman I'm dating, apparently. That's how she pronounces it. Tira. It's Tyra. I've got a couple of names that my phone just absolutely butchers, which I don't really understand. But we're waiting on Mr. Ragoni. Try one more time. He was in Capri. He's now in Italia. I mean, they've got a home in Thailand. Guy's got life by the tail. Weird, he says. So this has got to be him here. We got to get him. It's not showing, it says. Give me a number to call. All right.
I'm not even getting a ring.
All right. Hang on. He wants our number. 662. Really, Ralph? What is it? 842-5376?
Correct.
All right. We're waiting for Mr. Ragoni. In the meantime, the reason I'm so excited, because normally if it was just another U.S. Open, I could talk about golf. Not quite as well as Mr. Ragoni, but I could certainly talk about the U.S. Open and the history of it, etc. We got a local boy playing. Manav Shah, who's going to play some practice rounds with Patrick Cantley. I didn't know. He went to college with Patrick Cantley and Jake Knapp. They were on the UCLA team together. I did not know that.
I figured that's what he meant when he said Cantley was a college guy.
Yeah. I didn't even realize that we interviewed him. That's what he was alluding to. But yeah, he played with those guys in college. And Jake Knapp damn near won the Bakersfield Country Club Open. He was, I think he finished third. I think he participated in it twice when he was on the Kroger Tour, or not the Kroger Tour, what is the tour called?
Corn Ferry?
Corn Ferry Tour. Well, apparently we're not going to get Mr. Ragone. We got him up and for nothing, apparently, because I gave him the number. Our phones, you know how our phones are. You can try and call him through the app. What's app probably best option for international calls, says young Jennifer Van Allstein.
I don't know if I can do WhatsApp through.
Yeah, I don't think we can do that.
Let me try. Hold on.
That sucks. I really wanted to rap with him about that and Serena and Venus playing in Wimbledon.
When the coach called me and said after Austin had been stabbed.
I'm playing that later. Relax. Let's give it a couple of more minutes. And try one more time, I guess. Can you try on another line and it'll still ring?
I tried on line 2 and it didn't do anything. Again, I'm not getting a ring period. It's just blank and then going to voicemail, but it says that his voicemail is not set up yet.
Are you dialing 1? Yes. Before you put in the area code?
Yes. I figured that would be the tradition since he's international at the moment.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, well. I'm going to tell him to go back to bed, I guess. Let's see. Please stand by. We're not getting you. Go back to bed. Yeah, that's it. Where'd Chris go? My producer just left. I don't know what that's about. Did he fly in? Ragone, was that him at the door?
No, it was Rusty.
I can't connect, he says. Yeah. Wrap to you next week. In the meantime, we had Manav Shah on the program a couple of weeks ago when we first found out that he was headed to Shinnecock Hills. The tournament gets going underway. As I talked about, he is one of the last players to go out tomorrow. He starts on the 10th hole on the back because of the qualifications. There are so many players that they'll be going off in threesomes and off the back for our man. I forgot to let me see if I forgot to do this or not. but I think I had a deal where it broke down who he's playing with. Nope, that's JD Vance. And that's something else, and that's something else, and that's something else. Nope, I don't have it. Okay. Well, anyway, we spoke with Manav, and here's a little bit of what he told us prior to heading to New York.
I'm gonna go check it out next weekend. Play it twice before the actual week starts, and then I'll get there pretty early during the week. And check it out then also. So I'll be able to get a few rounds in.
He's never seen Shinnecock Hills, never been on the property until he arrived this week, where he got in a couple of practice rounds. Like I said, he played college golf with Jake Knapp and Patrick Cantley.
I got his group right here too.
You got his what?
I got his group.
Oh, who's he playing with?
Matthew Robles is an amateur, and
Yeah, he's
Jake
playing-
Saloon.
Yeah, guys that just don't. I would think that they would want to put some of the amateurs in with some of the bigger players, see if they can hang. But apparently not. You group all the amateurs because the USGA gets to set the pairings, and that's one of the highlights of the tournament, to be honest with you, for us freak golfers that are freaks about it, because they make interesting matchups. Like they would always try to put Phil with Tiger because they hated each other, or if there was, there's always like a theme to it. Like Rory will play with Shane Lowry because they're both from Northern Ireland. There's always kind of a theme or a reason. Read some of the pairings, and maybe I can deduce why the pairing is what it is.
We're talking about top-notch pairings here.
Yeah.
Let's see. I got Mason Howell, Scotty Scheffler, JJ Spawn.
I believe the theme there is they're all former U.S. Open champions. Oh, no, that's not true, because Scotty's going for the career Grand Slam.
And Mason Howell's an amateur.
I don't see the theme there, because Scotty Scheffler's not from L.A. JJ Spawn is. Maybe you should just ignore everything I'm saying. Give me another threesome.
Well, this actually kind of explains it too. It says, as customary, the reigning U.S. Open champion, U.S. Amateur champion, and champion golfer of the year are paired together.
Ah, see, there are themes. I'm not smart enough to deduce them. Let's test me on another one.
Rory, Ludwig Oberg, and Tommy Fleetwood.
No symmetry there.
All Euros.
Well, you could say that about any group.
That's the one. That's just the.
Is that what they're saying?
That's
why they put them together, because
all
all
European
Euros.
trio should have good vibes rolling.
Okay, that's kind of ambiguous and vague. Give me another one.
Bryson DeChambeau, Victor Hovland, Matt Fitzpatrick.
One more time.
DeChambeau,
Hovland,
Victor Hovland,
and Patrick.
Matt
Fitzpatrick. I'm stumped again. Well, it's because they're not. DeChambeau has a major. Ludwig doesn't have a major, I don't think. Fitzpatrick has a major. What's the theme in that one?
So this one says it's a bit of a yin and yang. Bryson DeChambeau and Hovland are two of the most volatile golfers in recent memory, who can never be counted out to contend, but frequently fizzle out if they don't have their game in tow.
Damn.
It's from PGA too. I'm reading straight from the PGA website.
That's kind of harsh.
That's what I said too.
Damn.
But then again, I mean, DeChambeau is kind of coming back from live, so they're not holding punches no more.
And what's Fitzpatrick? He's a winner. He just won the RBC down in my neck of the woods.
And that's the second part of this.
Hilton Head, California.
It says they will play alongside human metronome in Matt Fitzpatrick, who is having the best season of his career thus far. Although the 3 wins under his belt, Fitzpatrick came close to a 4th at the RBC Canadian Open.
The RBC Canadian. He won the RBC Heritage Open down in Hilton Head. I know that. Yeah, he's having a good year. All right, one more, and then I'll concede.
Justin Thomas, Hideki Matsuyama, and Alexander Schauffele.
No, I don't get that one.
How about Justin Rose, Jordan Spieth, or John Rahm?
Justin Rose, Jordan Spieth, and John Rahm. The J-Boys. I have no idea. There's no symmetry there. Justin Rose is from Great Britain. What's the other one?
Jordan Spieth.
Jordan Spieth is from Texas.
John Rahm.
And John Rahm is from Madrid.
Yeah, and that's actually noted here. The contrast in different styles in this group. Justin Rose will look to methodically move his way around Shinnecock. Spieth might want to play that way, but he can't help but conjure a shock and awe style.
Oh my
and
God.
Rahm wins with overpowering the course.
The PGA does not hold punches.
No.
God, I thought they were going to make some COVID reference. Remember when John Rahm was leading the U.S. Open and he had to withdraw because he got COVID? He tested positive for COVID. What are you oohing about? What do you got?
Sorry, I just got a text message just came through right now.
What do you
Everybody might want to stay off the freeway. There is a high-speed chase going through town. 7 CHPs appear to be chasing a stolen ambulance.
A stolen ambulance.
We're joking right now. Bakersfield, what are we doing?
Well, we don't know it's from Bakersfield. It could have started in L.A.
This is true, but
because then nobody gets a hall ambulance. Who's going to get? Or it could have happened in our parking lot. We've got a really diverse business center that absolutely nobody knows about. Like every time I get a new Uber rider, he's like, I didn't know this was back here. And I said, yeah, there are about 140, 150 businesses back here. And one of them is the Hall Ambulance Training Facility. You see them coming out at my 5 o'clock walk, running to their cars.
Oh, they can't
at 4:59. They really can't. They come out in hordes. When I make my 5 o'clock run, they are like, get me out of here.
It's a Tulare ambulance.
It's a Tulare, so they're coming south.
Oof.
Are they coming south? Can we see them? I'm looking at the freeway right now. And it's moving pretty steadily both directions.
We are talking about the 99, I assume, but again, they could have already passed through for all we know.
Yeah, it would have to be a pretty damn slow speed chase
That's
for
what
them
I'm
not to
thinking.
have gone past us by now, but that is interesting. All right, well, I apologize. We'll talk with Mr. Ragon when he gets back into the country. But let's go ahead and take a break. And we come back, we'll check the board, see what you all are talking about when we get to the bottom of the hour. I've got to uncan this Carmelo Anthony story, probably for the last time, I hope. There's new news on that. I've got some more Michelle Obama audio that I want to play for you just to show you how ignorant some people are, because this Wasco kid has started like a movement where for only racist purposes, people are why would you even be talking about a former first lady if it were not for race? Like, I don't hear anybody talking about Jill Biden and she's on a damn book tour lying her ass off. I don't see anybody attacking the late Barbara Bush. I don't see anybody attacking any first lady. I've never even heard of attacking a first lady until a sister got in the White House. That's right. I said it. Y'all resent it. Admit it. That a black guy got to the White House and his Harvard or his Princeton educated wife, and the only thing some moron from Wasco can do to try to take down Michelle Obama is to lie about her gender. Because he's certainly not as intelligent as she is. She's a Princeton graduate. He certainly couldn't pass the bar. She's a licensed attorney in the state of Illinois. And did I mention that she's one of 45 first ladies? And if you don't understand why it's 45 and not 47, because Grover Cleveland won twice in non-secession, and Donald Trump did the same thing about 140 years later. Quick time out. We're just rolling along on a Wednesday. We call it the Ralph Bailey Show right here on Newstalk 96.1 and AM 1230. And we're streaming live at kernradio.com.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. First Look with Scott Cox, morning 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Thursday edition of the First Look program, we will chat with local psychologist Dr. Corey Gonzalez. We will have burritos, and yes, that second thing is better than that first thing. We will have state-of-the-art news and traffic, and yes, weather. It's not as bad as you think. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m. right here at News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
News Talk 96.1
They should have
and
put Scotty
AM
in that. 'Cause
1230
he's the one that wants the most. He wins a career
KERN.
Grand Slam if he wins.
Hey, it's that man again for Sangera Subaru. You know, the world's biggest tournament is here. And this summer, Sangera Subaru is bringing all the excitement home. So they're kicking it off with some incredible offers on new Subarus all month long. Right now, lease a 2026 Outback Premium CVT
I know. I told you.
for
That's one of the highlights of the
$229 a
tournament.
month for 36
Trying to
months
figure
and
out why they match certain
5,014
people
to
with
its
certain
signing.
people
Plus,
and-
every Subaru comes
Oh,
standard
yeah,
with
that's the first,
symmetrical
like, on the
all-wheel
first
drive.
day
So don't
when
miss your
the
chance to
report-
drive
the
something new during
announcers,
soccer's biggest event of the
it's
summer,
NBC,
going
so
on
it'll be
right now at
hits.
Sangera
They
Subaru. So
explain
stop by,
each
see my
group.
good
They
friends
tell
Damon
you what
Culbertson
the
and Hassan Levy, and test
common
drive a brand new
denominator
Subaru. Sangera Subaru, paving the way for a better community. 5500 gasoline alley drive in the Bakersville Auto Mall. Lease a 2026 Subaru Outback Premium CVT with TSRP $37,257, $229 per month plus tax, 36 months. Total of lease payments $8,855, $5,014 total due at lease signing. Includes first month payment, includes tax, title, license, and $85 document fee. Total lease cost $13,859, excludes tax and fees. No security deposit. Lease based on 7,500 mile per year, 50 cents per mile over. Available to qualified customers through Subaru Motor Finance on approved credit. Expires 2/30/2026. Excludes optional equipment and dealer installed accessories. VIN number TY514370.
Meet Paul Sheldon's client, Dr. Roland Rodriguez.
Hello, this is
I think it started at
Bakersfield General
11:30.
Surgeon, Dr. Roland Rodriguez, client and friend of Mr. Paul Sheldon. It is my
Huh?
great pleasure and privilege to relate to all of you my absolute exemplary experience with Team Paul Sheldon. I have also referred a number of my colleagues to
Yeah,
Paul
for the-
Sheldon's
for the
office,
Buccaneers,
only
yeah,
to
for the
receive the most
Buccaneers,
stellar
the
feedback
Rays.
from my doctor friends regarding the office's expert navigation through the complex maze that is Medicare. And even though Paul Sheldon himself is now facing some temporary health challenges, his long-standing and most experienced and expertly trained team of ladies, Christine, Kelly, and Lynn, continue to masterfully guide the clients through the complicated world of Medicare. You most definitely could not possibly do any better than to reach out to Paul Sheldon several months before turning 65. Thank you.
When Medicare matters, our team has the answers. Team Paul Sheldon.
398-2298. Are you looking for a hospital that truly cares for your health and well-being? At Good Samaritan Hospital, they provide high-quality
Do we play
medical
all the Shaw
detox,
stuff?
psychiatric services,
We play
and
all the
medical
Shaw
and
stuff?
surgical care. They accept
just played
most
one of them?
insurances,
We got
including
two more?
Medi-Cal, Medicare, and Kern Family. They offer Kern County's longest.
Yeah, the one about the caddy, and then the one about Justin Rose and the guys.
GoodSamaritanHospital.com or call 661-215-7500. Good Samaritan Hospital. They care for their community.
Hey folks, Scott Cox here, host of the First Look with Scott Cox radio program. You are listening to the Ralph Bailey Show right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Big Samba. Stephen Wonder. The greatest conspiracy that's going around the black culture, which I think is hilarious. Stevie can see. I think Jamie Foxx is the one that started it. Jamie Foxx did this bit. He was on, I don't think it was The Breakfast Club. I think it was Ricky Smiley's show down in Atlanta. And he was telling the story about how he was at Mike Tyson's house. And he said, this is when Mike was going through some stuff. And he said, Mike is bipolar, obviously, by definition, meaning Mike can be calm and then he just snaps. And so Jamie Foxx tells the story. They're all sitting around the piano listening to Stevie play. And what's the Thong Thong song? Do you remember the Thong Thong song? Let me see if you can pull it up.
I'm trying to remember. It's Cisco?
Yes. Well, for whatever reason, Mike didn't like Cisco. But in the story, what's his name? Jamie Foxx says he didn't know Cisco's name. So he just kept saying, get the Dong Dong guy out of here. Get him out of here. I hate the Dong Dong guy. Get him out. Get him out. I hate the Dong Dong guy. Get him out. And do a horrible Mike Tyson. And so he says that's what got him started. And then some girl walked up right when Mike is going off on the Dong Dong guy. I don't like the Dong Dong guy. This girl asked him some question like, I don't know, would you take me out or can we hang out or something? And he said, Mike just lost it. And just, you don't want to go out with me. You just want to see me go back to prison. You just want to. And he said, like, the bodyguards had to come in and be like, Mike, calm down. We're here with Stevie. And so Smiley asked Jamie, what did Stevie do? And Jamie Foxx, and this is why you guys should be watching on YouTube, because every now and again something funny happens in the studio. But he said that he goes, Ricky Barnes says, Jamie, what did Stevie did? And he said, well, let me show you. Stevie was playing, Isn't She Lovely? You just want me to go back to jail. He said Stevie panicked and tried to get up out of there, but he didn't know where to go. I'm sorry. That's wrong. That's just wrong. That was Jamie Foxx. That was not me. That was Jamie Foxx. But there is this cultural myth like Bigfoot that goes through the Black community. And I've hated that, because when I came back 5 years ago, however long ago, with Carla, when I went to Vegas, we went and saw Stevie. I told you guys he had me scared to death because he was walking all over the stage. He had a piano set up and he had an organ set up. First of all, he walked out on stage, which I was just like, because the front of the stage, there's a dip, there's a fall off. It's like a 10-foot like dip. It's kind of like an orchestra setting, you know what I'm saying? Where the stage is higher than the audience so that they can't rush the stage, basically, I'm assuming. That's why they do that. And so if he goes over the edge, at his age, he's older than I am. He's in his 70s. That's a broken hip at minimum. So he comes walking out on the stage without a cane, without a dog, and I'm not trying to be funny, but he just comes walking out on the stage. And I understand. I've been around blind people. The way they do it, they count the number of steps from X point to Y, and they memorize it literally. And I mean, he was probably at the MGM for a month or two and just rehearsed it during the day, steps. And so but still, when you see a blind man walking, and then when he would walk to his organ, he had to go down 2 steps. And again, I'm sure he just memorized the amount of steps where he gets there, and he realized that they're 2 steps, but I was just just a nervous wreck. But that's about as much fun as I've had in Vegas in a long time. Really, the best part was us, because we were getting along at the time, the drive up, where we had a little CD and we were just singing Stevie songs all the way from Tehachapi to Prim. By the way, speak of the devil, did you hear that somebody is going to buy Prim, the Whiskey Pete's and all that, and try to get it back up on its feet? Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. I mean, not that I'm a fan. I've stopped once in my entire life. I have literally been to Vegas triple digits, literally. I mean, I've been to Vegas 15, 20 times while I was a college kid, literally. Like I told you guys, I used to fly from Atlanta to Denver. My 2 high school best friends were going to the CU, going to Boulder, and we would drive to LA from Colorado and stop in Vegas. But I ain't never seen anything like that. Quick timeout, heading to the back half of the hour. It's the Ralph Bailey Show. I would stick around if I you.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Tropical Storm Arthur is the first of the Atlantic season and threatens the southern United States with dangerous flash flooding.
What's for dinner?
The National Hurricane Center announced the storm Wednesday and said Arthur would skirt over the Gulf Coast with heavy rain through Friday.
I had losses.
An agreement to end the war between the United States and Iran calls for Tehran to dilute its stockpile of highly enriched uranium and would waive sanctions on the country immediately. allowing
It was
Iran to
awful.
sell its oil freely in a major
No, I
concession
am.
from
I'm a huge fan of
Washington.
teriyaki, but
That,
they had
according to
it
language
wasn't
released by
sweet.
both
It was
countries on
it
Wednesday.
wasn't teriyaki.
The agreement would
Then they
also
had like
open
these
the Strait of
potatoes
Hormuz toll-free
this
for 2
organic
months and
shit.
affirm a commitment to Lebanon's territorial integrity.
Wasn't very good at all.
On Wall Street, the Dow down by 507 points, the S&P lower by 91. More at srnnews.com.
Are you carrying more than $10,000?
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. Headlines from the KERN newsroom.
The names of 8 people killed in Monday's crash at Edwards Air Force Base now made public. And the Air Force says they are 53-year-old Colonel Gregory Watson, who is from Shreveport, Louisiana. 40-year-old Lieutenant Colonel Gabriel Estrella, who was a weapons systems officer at Edwards Air Force Base. Retired Lieutenant Colonel Miles Middleton, age 50, a pilot from Boeing, who was from Tehachapi. 34-year-old Major Alexander Davis with the 419th Flight Test Squadron from Lancaster. 40-year-old Major Robert D. with the 419th Flight Test Squadron from Edwards Air Force Base. 35-year-old Major Brad Hovey, a pilot with the 419th. 32-year-old Jeremy Smith, a flight test engineer with the 419th from Rosamond. And 41-year-old Christopher Richard, flight test engineer and a contractor from Lancaster. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 at AM 1230, KERN.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head, and the total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy, pretty much hands off. They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief, the best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
First Look with Scott Cox, morning 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Thursday edition of the First Look program, we will chat with local psychologist Dr. Corey Gonzalez. We will have burritos, and yes, that second thing is better than that first thing. We will have state-of-the-art news and traffic, and yes, weather. It's not as bad as you think. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m. right here at News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
Hey, it's JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, starting at 1 p.m. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230.
842K. See what you missed if you're not watching YouTube?
Is this where I was supposed to tackle you?
No, I wasn't really dancing. I was just kind of swaying.
Reenacting?
Yeah, it's kind of really doing a kind of a Stevie Wonder kind of a thing there with Diana. But there's a great Stevie Wonder story, but I can't tell it. I really can't. It's a great Stevie Wonder, Diana Ross song, and their love child, but it's a long story. What do you got on the board? We're gonna check the board today. What do you got?
Let's see. At least the ambulance has lights and sirens so people can get out of the way, making people more safe. I don't know if they have the lights and
I was
sirens
gonna
on
say they don't know how to operate. It's some moron. It's some
Yeah, it
homeless
is.
person.
What else?
I'm gonna try to bet it's a homeless person
I could see that.
who's just walking by. They're dealing with the gurney, and his meth-soaked head was like, this would be fun.
Okay, but yeah.
Why, you got details?
No, but again, why leave the keys in the front for the person to actually get in the car and drive away with it?
That's a great question.
Why did he have access to the keys?
Did it necessarily have a key?
It's a good question.
That's how I got first tossed into the Who's Gal. Although I never was in jail. They made me sit on a bench. But we were just screwing around. They were building the Fox Hills Mall circa 1974, 75. I'm 12, 13. Brian Walker is 16. Tony Flournoy is 16. Kyle and Kim Townsend are 17, and I'm like 14. And we were just exploring as they constructed the Fox Hills Mall, the mall that you all see on the east side of the 405 as you're headed to LAX. It's a huge mall. It's kind of by the cemetery, by Hillcrest. You can't miss it. And I always ask people, don't you know what I'm talking about? The Fox, they're like, no. I'm like, you don't see a mall on the left side of the freeway as you're going to Century Boulevard? Even if you're going to La Tierra, where you should get off, by the way, if you're going to the airport, because I used to live 15 minutes from the airport. Don't get off at Century Boulevard. Get off at La Tierra and then go down Airport Drive. I'm telling you, that's a great LA secret that I just gave you, but that a lot of people are aware of. Anyway, but yeah, we were just screwing around, just looking for stuff. You know how kids go through construction, particularly a mall. Oh, it was a fantasy. And then Tony Flournoy jumped in like one of the bulldozers or whatever the hell and pushed a button and it started. And we were all like, what? Had no idea that construction trucks started by a button. And we all took turns driving this thing, and being the youngest, I went last. And all of a sudden I'm driving and all my friends are running like roaches and the lights just went on. And I'm like, just because I'm 14 doesn't mean I can't drive. And just as I was saying that in my head, Officer John Bouchot, I will never, ever forget that name. Blacker than my daddy, blacker than this pen, and his brown, ugly-ass LA Sheriff's Department uniform tapped me on the shoulder, and I turned around and he says, come down, son. And I'm like, uh-oh. And he took me, put me in the back of the car, took me to the Lenox Sheriff's Station on Hawthorne Boulevard, and called my grandmother. My parents were on vacation. It was the summertime. And my grandmother, in tears, had to come get me. And she was just like, this is how it starts. This is how it starts, baby. You start stealing. I said, Grandma, we weren't stealing. You stole a bulldozer. Grandma didn't steal the bulldozer. We didn't take it off the property. We just started it and drove it. I drove it like 5-10 yards. This is how it starts. Joyriding in a bulldozer. Grandma, that's not joyriding. We just started it. By the way, we don't have to tell Dad, do we? Oh, baby, I got to tell your father. And I spent the next 2 weeks, 3 times a day, begging my grandmother, we really, really don't have to share this with Pop. We really don't, Grandma. What's been hurt? I don't have to go to court. There's no criminal record. Dad doesn't really need to know this. He really doesn't. Grandma, do you really want to stress out your middle son who's coming back from a great vacation and give him the stress of his son riding a bulldozer, Grandma, is that really a strong offense? If I broke the damn thing, if I stole something, I get it. I joyrided in a damn bulldozer, Grandma. I gotta tell him, baby. And she did. I don't think I got an ass whooping for that. Or was that my last ass whooping? No, the car was my last ass whooping. When I took the car and I was specifically told not to. And then not only didn't get away with it, because I was slick, Jack. My dad told me not to take the car, gave me this big speech about not taking the car, and unbeknownst to him, I had already copied the keys. And then not only did I, and I almost got away with it. It's like the Bailey luck, I'm telling you. I ruined, to make a long story short, I was driving around the car. I was 16, but I didn't have insurance. I had a license. I took my driver's license test with my parents gone in our Datsun B210 because I wasn't allowed to drive the car that we had bought for me. And so after I got my license, I figured, what are the chances of me getting into an accident? Come on, I'm a good driver. And then it went from driving in the neighborhood to driving on Sepulveda to then getting on the 405 because my friends lived in Sherman Oaks and the other one lived in Northridge. And we were coming back. We had just dropped John off. Ed and I were coming back from Northridge going to Sherman Oaks. And the moonroof popped off. I didn't know how to attach the moonroof. And the moonroof popped off on the freeway. And we got off on Sepulveda. And this was the biggest, dumbest thing we did. Because fortunately, I didn't kill anybody. I mean, I literally could have gone to prison. If that thing falls in somebody's windshield and they die, I'd have been in juvie till I was 17 or 20, whatever it is. And we went back and parked in the very, what is that, the emergency lane, just right of the fast lane. We parked in that. It was a Sunday night, thank God. And back in the 70s, Sunday nights were like 24th Street on a Sunday night. It's very little traffic. And we literally went back and recovered the moonroof and then ordered another one. My cousin George, who was like 5 years older than we were, I was 16, so he was like 20, 21. We ordered a new one, and it literally came on the day my parents got back. In fact, I didn't want to be home when they came home. I didn't go to the airport, and I came home, and we had a piano that kind of faced the front door, and my dad sat waiting for me. This is how psychologically screwed up my dad would try to make me. He sat there. He didn't go in his bedroom and just call me in. He sat at the piano that faces backwards, obviously, not facing the piano, but facing the front door with the box of the moonroof sitting next to him. And he just sat there and he waited. I don't know how long he sat there. And when I walked in the door, he didn't say, hello, son. Been a couple of weeks. Good to see you. Good to see you're alive. He just said, so let's hear the story. And like I said, even at that age, I still had a little problem telling the truth. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And he just looked down and I just said, okay, just hear me out. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that was, I don't think I got an ass whooping for that either. No, I don't think I did. Because my dad at a certain age stopped whooping me. I only got like 4, I always talk about corporal punishment, but I only got like 4 serious whoopings that I can recall. But my punishment was, I was going into 11th grade. I was finally going to be able to drive to school. I had a pretty nice car, and I could not drive it until the second semester. So September, October, November, and December, I was on the bus with my 6-year-old sister, the late Bettina Charlotte Bailey. That was my punishment. And I would have rathered an ass whooping, to be honest with you. I really would have. To have to walk by my car every morning and get on the bus, holding my sister's hand as we crossed Bedford Avenue, 6141 Bedford, Ladera Heights, California.
I could one up that.
Yeah, what do you got?
I had to walk to school.
I rode my bike.
Same thing.
I rode my bike in Cerritos.
Because I had my first car. I had a situation happen where I wrecked the car essentially without wrecking the car. Like it still looked fine. It drove around fine, but stuff was bent and there was stuff that needed to be fixed. And my mom found out about it. So to punish me, obviously they got the car fixed, but sat it in the driveway, and I had to look at it for a whole summer. And well, actually, no, I'm sorry, more than a summer because I was walking to school afterwards too.
Wow. I can top that.
Oh,
my junior prom, sober as a judge, thank God, because we went out with our dates. We hung out till about 2. We dumped our dates, and then we all met at Tommy's at 3 in the morning. And I was coming home in my dad's Cadillac at 4 in the morning. I was getting off. We lived off Slauson Avenue. And so if you're going down the 405 south, it's like a delta. You can either take I think it's the 90 to Marina Del Rey, or you can take the Slauson exit that comes off, and it's a big wide turn that goes back towards Slauson, which runs perpendicular with the 405. And it was 4 o'clock in the morning, 4:30. No, I had to be later than that because it was like almost daylight. It was like 5. And I'm coming around that corner, and I make it, and I'm just about to get off Slauson Avenue, and I fall asleep. And I wake up, and my dad's Cadillac is scraping the median that is about this high.
Oof.
And I just absolutely ripped up the front tire and just destroyed the front of the car, and had about 2 miles to get to the house. And it was 5 in the morning, and I just kind of limped home. And I pulled up, and we had 3 parking lots. My mom parked in the garage. I parked on the side of the garage so she could get out. And then my dad had his own like space that was off the side of the driveway, you know what I'm saying? Where it wouldn't affect us playing basketball. And he always parked there. So that's where I parked it. But the accident was on the left side of the car. And I had to wake my dad up at 5:30 in the morning. And I was a junior in college, and I was like, Dad, I got into an accident. I swear I have not been drinking, which wasn't exactly the truth. If I said I hadn't been drinking today, that'd be the truth, because we stopped drinking around 11. But I said, I'm stone cold sober. I just fell asleep. And he didn't say a word. He just got up and started running outside. And then I'm standing at the door, and he runs because the car looks fine from the porch. And then he walked around to the side of the car, and I have never seen my father jump so high off the ground. He was just standing there. He turned around, and he looked, and he went, ah! And just stood there and frozen. And I am just 17 years old, like crying out of total fear. There's no reason for me to cry other than, Mother, this man is about to commit murder. Could you come save me, please? He is going to kill me, Mother. This isn't I stole $20 off his bureau. This isn't I came home an hour late from the prom. I've ruined my father's car. He is going to kill me. And that was not a good morning for me. It really wasn't. And then I went in the bathroom and threw up Tommy's. Let's go. We'll take a quick break, come right back. We didn't even check the board. I just rambled for like 15 minutes. I'm sorry. But I got some stuff to get to in the 5. The Carmelo Anthony story just won't go away. The Michelle Obama story just won't go away. And then coming up in just about a couple of minutes, we're going to meet Darius Higgins with Bakersfield College. He's the program manager of Amen. He'll explain what that program is about. We'll talk a little sports before we get out of here in the 5. Serena and Venus are back together again at Wimbledon, seeking like their 15th doubles championship. Their numbers are startling. They are back together in their 40s. And the Dodgers got a great pitching performance out of their leading winner. No, not Yoshinobu Yamamoto. It was Justin Roblinski who put on an amazing performance. 3 hits, no walks. And the Dodgers win 1-0 on a Shohei Ohtani blast to center field in the 6th. Just imagine how deep we are. We're dominating the National League West. And does anybody know where Tyler Glasnow is? Has anybody seen, what's his name, Snell? I mean, you're talking about 2 potential And Snell is a Cy Young Award winner, isn't he? You're talking about two potential winners of the Cy Young and one that won it. And they're rehabbing, and we don't even miss them. We don't even miss them. Robisky's throwing well. Lauer's throwing well. Sheehan is throwing well. And I hadn't even got to our aces, which is turning out to be Roki Sasaki, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, and that other Japanese kid, number 17, whatever his name is. We're just so deep. It's a wonderful thing to be a Dodger fan, isn't it? Isn't it fun to be a Dodger fan? Quick timeout. We're coming right back. It's TRBS on a Wednesday, hump day, right here on News Talk 96.1, AM 1230. We're streaming live at kernradio.com.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1.
Adaptive?
Yeah.
9 a.m.
On the Thursday edition of the First Look program, we will chat with local psychologist Dr. Corey Gonzalez. We will have burritos, and yes, that second thing is better than that first thing. We will have state-of-the-art news and traffic, and yes, weather. It's not as bad as you think. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m. right here at News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
The Kern Radio studios are powered by Adaptive Networks. And if you weren't with us earlier, you can go back and watch on YouTube. But we had owner-operators Ryan and Jennifer Van Allstine live in studio as they continued their 4-week-long tutorial for businesses trying to illustrate what you know, what you should know, and what you don't know and should. Cybersecurity is a major, major issue in the 21st century. And they have the ability to stave this off or recover your material if, in fact, it's ever taken hostage, which happens, or if it's ever stolen, or if it's just accidentally, as we talked about today early in the broadcast, released somehow by one of your employees. You may not know what you need to know. That's why, at minimum, you should talk with the folks at Adaptive Networks. Call them today at 661-241-0638. That's 241-0638. And at best, hire them. Join American General Media, who is in bed with these folks because we depend on our IT and we depend on a team that stresses customer service and reliability. And that's the folks at Adaptive Networks. Call them today at 661-241-0638 or hit them online at adaptive-net.com.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for. So don't wait. For this free information, call the relief hotline at 800-525-9069. 800-525-9069. 800-525-9069.
We all start as tiny seeds, needing care, love, and a little sunlight. Then, boom, we sprout, stretch, and grow through the world of childhood and teen years. Before you know it, we're blooming, working, parenting, thriving. And yes, even golden petals can shine bright. Join Kern County Public Health and thrive like a poppy. Visit KernPublicHealth.com to learn more.
Hey, folks, Scott Cox here, host of the First Look with Scott Cox radio program. You are listening to The Ralph Bailey Show right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Yeah. So JR tells me that the stolen ambulance, or as a lot of black folks say, ambulance, it crashed. It's a Lifestar ambulance out of Tulare, and it crashed in front of the DoubleTree right here on Rosedale. Isn't that crazy? I know, that's what I said. And he says there's no reports of whether they captured the people, whether they jumped out and jumped in the river. That's your best spot.
That's your best bet.
That's your best bet is to go back, park it way back in the back, jump out, because that's where Mike lives. Mike lives in that RV park over there, kind of by Benji's, a little further down from Doubletree. So I don't know whether it's I think that's where I got my mosquito bites. Although they're in places that they should not be. Like I'm on behind and stuff. Like, could that happen with clothes on? I guess so. They could fly up your pants.
And shorts on, I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if they're loose fitting.
Yeah, but he lives right off in a really nice RV park. If I were ever to want to do that, I couldn't do that. But if I ever wanted to do that, it's really nice. And his RV is nicer than my damn apartment. Because his RV is new. My apartment is damn near a century-year old, basically. 842-537-6842 KERN. What do you got on the board?
Let's see. Well, Yale or Harvard are not what it was. It's not a flex. And it's because he is male. It's called deception, Ralph. And yes, Jill is having a hard time. And Barbara Bush, quote unquote, was a male. Do you even look at the internet?
Am I supposed to respond to that?
I can't tell if they're joking or not. We did have somebody who called in as well and wanted to know if Macron is also in this as well.
If you believe Candace Owens, sure. If you think Candace Owens is saying Mrs. Macron is a man, just like Michelle. Do you understand? I can't even discuss this. Do you know how many gynecological exams this woman has had to be 63 years old? Do you know the massive cover-up? The thing that disturbs me the most about this, and I'm going to play some audio a little bit later from a guy who literally thinks there's a theory that she's a man, and it's not that idiot Alex Jones we played yesterday. I just feel sorry for Sasha and Malia. You imagine bouncing around LA, you got Life by the Tail. Malia is apparently a very successful movie producer. She's making small films. I don't know what Sasha's doing, but they live together somewhere in LA. And can you imagine when they go out for drinks? You don't think that somebody comes up and says, hey, your mama's a man. Ha! They have to live with this nonsense. You know, it's like I said yesterday, it's hard enough to grow up in the White House. It's hard enough as a woman, Michelle Obama, to raise children in the hot, glaring spotlight that is national attention that comes with being in the White House and being the First Lady. You all just think it's a coincidence that this is the first time we've heard people denigrate a first lady like this? There's still white folks that don't think that Barack Obama or Michelle Obama should have ever lived in the White House. And that's what this is all about. It's about pure racism. And if you think that this is funny or somewhat appropriate, you're a racist. You're an absolute racist. And later in the program, I'm going to admit I might be a racist. I just might be. I had the strangest reaction to something. And I was like, damn, does that make me a racist? After my reaction to what I saw? In the meantime, we're shifting gears as we head into the 5 o'clock hour. The folks from Bakersfield College are here. We're going to meet Darius Higgins, program manager for Amen. What is Amen? He'll tell you right after these words. See here?
Kern Radio, AM 1230, KERN. 96.1 FM, K241CI, Bakersfield, an American General Media station.
Or from Town Hall, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Forecasters are keeping a watch on the first Atlantic tropical storm of the season, Arthur, as it moves through parts of Texas and Louisiana.
It's Venus Williams'
National
birthday
Hurricane
today.
Center forecaster Dan Brown says tropical
According to
storm
Lisa.
Arthur will likely affect parts of the southeastern United States.
Most of the heavy rainfall is going to be across Louisiana and then parts of southern Mississippi and Alabama. And then as we move through the latter part of the week, there still is going to be a risk for heavy rainfall across parts of the southeast as kind of the residual moisture from the system remains over that area.
Officials urged millions of people along the Gulf Coast to take the storm seriously amid warnings that the storm could dump dangerous amounts of rain in some areas. In Louisiana and Mississippi, some communities set up locations for residents to collect sandbags and clear debris from drainage systems. Germany and Poland are signing a new defense deal as the balance of power in Europe shifts.
The new defense agreement puts aside Germany and Poland's complicated past to strengthen European military cooperation at a time of heightened tension with Russia and growing uncertainty over US engagement in Europe. Germany is seeking partners as it moves to revitalize its military, the Bundeswehr, after decades of neglect, with ambitions to build the strongest conventional army on NATO's European side, an effort that could make it a central pillar of European defense in the years ahead, while Poland's importance as a logistic hub for Ukraine, alongside its growing economy and heavy defense investment, has made it a compelling partner for Germany and other core European countries. I'm Charles Ledesma.
On Wall Street, the Dow down by 507 points, the Nasdaq dropping 354, with the S&P 500 lower by 91, oil around $76 a barrel. More at Town Hall.
The following is a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
When I was feeling the stress of too much credit card debt, I looked at two different options: debt settlement and debt management. They may sound the same, but guess what? They're not. Debt settlement seemed like a quick fix, but I found out it would destroy my credit, create tax headaches, and hit me with huge fees. They actually told me to stop paying my bills. No way, not me. Then I turned to a debt management plan developed by the team at Trinity. They worked with my creditors, lowered my payments, reduced my interest, saved me thousands, and paid off my debt. And Trinity is a Christian company, which is important to me.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
My name is Heather.
Ralph
Please
Daly.
forget debt
Nice to
settlement
meet you.
and
Thanks for
remember
coming in.
Trinity Debt Management.
1-800-990-6976.
Couldn't even read my own writing. I think once in the break.
Interest rate worries send stock.
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update.
With great sadness and heavy hearts, I'm Chris Davis. That's the way the Air Force put it this morning when they made public the names of the 8 people killed in the B-52 crash at Edwards Air Force Base Monday.
So the program is called
53-year-old
Amen?
Colonel Gregory Watson, a weapons systems officer with Boeing and a reservist
said it was
from the 10th
pronounced
Air Force
Amen.
Naval Air Station Joint Reserve
So
Base
put the
Fort
two
Worth
in.
from Shreveport,
So put the two in.
Louisiana. 40-year-old Lieutenant Colonel Gabriel Estrella, a weapons
Yeah, in
systems
English, said
officer
it's pronounced
with the
Amen.
Air Force
Not the
Operational
two.
Test and Evaluation Center, Detachment 5, Edwards Air Force Base. Retired Lieutenant Colonel Miles Middleton, age 50, a pilot with Boeing from Tehachapi.
Right.
Major Alexander Davis, age 34, a
And
weapons
Juneteenth is
systems
coming up,
officer
and
with
you
the
are
419th
ready,
Flight
Jack.
Test
That is a
Squadron from
sweet
Lancaster.
shirt.
Major Robert D., age 40, a pilot, 419th Flight Test Squadron. Major Brad Hovey, age 35, a pilot, also with the 419th.
Oh, is that
Jeremy
right?
Smith,
Okay, let's
age
start with
32, a
that.
flight test engineer with the 419th from Rosamond. And 41-year-old Christopher Richard, a flight test engineer and a contractor from Lancaster. A wreck last night near Ridgecrest is responsible for the death of at least
start with
one
that and
person,
then get
says
into
the
the
Highway Patrol, and also the closure of some roads there, which have been reopened. The wreck happened about 10:31 on Route 395 and Bowman Road, just west of Ridgecrest. CHP says at least 3 vehicles were involved,
So say it
including a
again.
semi-truck, but they have not given details on how it happened. 3 slot machines were taken out of the Cloud9 Mini Mart on Brundage Lane by Bakersfield police in a raid Tuesday afternoon. They say they were responding to complaints from people who had gone in there and reported illegal gambling. But police say they also found illegal flavored tobacco being sold there. They cited one employee. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
To the rest of a month from now, this Hollywood big shot's gonna give you what you want. Too late, they start shooting in a week. I'm gonna make him an offer again.
The Ralph Bailey Show. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN.
And I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for, live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Final hour of the broadcast on this Wednesday, 17th day of June. And our associate producer, lovely Lisa, our traffic department, who I just saw leaving the complex. She's the hardest working personnel we have. She's the last one. Anyway, Tobin's Venus Williams' birthday as well, as she and her sister get ready to play doubles in Wimbledon. I cannot wait. I cannot wait to see these two back on the court together. That is going to be so much fun. And what's crazy is Venus now, like I said, full circle. Venus was the superstar. Then Serena was the greatest player who ever lived. And now Venus is in better shape and has been playing for a while in her 40s. But it's going to be great to see the two girls from Compton who grew up playing on grass. You know the story. They grew up playing on grass. And they asked Serena, they said, what do you mean you grew up playing? I thought you were from Compton. She goes, yeah, the courts we played on were cracked. And the grass would grow through the crack. We had to know not to hit it over there and not to run over there. And I'm like, man, that makes sense. I hear you. And the Dodgers got a big win last night, 1-0. Shohei Ohtani had the lone home run to win it. And Justin Roblisky has 8 victories, 9 is leading the National League. And I forgot to tell you who I thought is going to make the All-Star game. So we'll talk about that. But first, as those of you who are watching on YouTube can see, clad in his Juneteenth attire, man, that is a sweet shirt, is Darius Wiggins. I apologize. I think I called him Higgins earlier because I can't read my own damn writing. He's part of the Amen project out at Bakersfield College. Appreciate you coming in. Love that shirt, man. Love that shirt.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Representing our Juneteenth celebrations this week. So just had to dress the part.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes,
the Juneteenth celebration isn't until the weekend, but it's already started out at BC and Cal State.
Yeah, because of course, it was, deemed a federal holiday. So nobody's going to be in school. Nobody's going to be at work. So we're going to take care of those celebrations beforehand so everybody can learn the history and enjoy the significance of Juneteenth.
Explain Juneteenth and what happened, what was going on in Texas and the end of the war and how that came all about.
So of course, at the end of the Civil War, pronouncement. In fact, I believe Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation January 1st, 1863.
Right.
But of course, it's not like we had cell phones back then, right? So the message still had to go. And the last states to hear about the Emancipation Proclamation and the freedom of the slaves was Texas. So it took until 1865 for Galveston, Texas, to actually hear about it.
When the war was over.
And the war was over. So here it was 2 years, and there was over 250,000 persons that were still enslaved at the time. So this day represents when there was freedom for everybody.
Right.
In our country as it was growing. So Independence Day for African Americans is significant for that particular day.
Yeah.
And a lot of us, say, well, hey, July 4th, 1776, that's not my Independence Day because I was still a slave at that time. True. Very true.
Yeah.
So that's why we embrace Juneteenth and what took place June 19th, 1865, because that represents liberation for us. That represents Jubilee for us. That represents the time where we became free. And of course, it was ratified by the 14th Amendment. But that's why those celebrations take place every single summer. And in fact, before it became even a national holiday, I can remember being in high school and elementary school and Juneteenth came around. I didn't know what it meant, but my parents were like, all right, we're going to Juneteenth.
Have you ever been in Atlanta on June 19th?
Not Atlanta, but I've been in New Orleans.
Oh, I bet it's just crazy.
Yes,
I bet it's just crazy. But Atlanta, they take over Piedmont Park and there's a parade and it is something to see.
Yeah,
it really is. Sure. So tell us about Amen. Tell us about the project and how long this has been going on.
Yeah, so Amen, the program is the African American Male Education Network and Development. And it is essentially a program in our community colleges in the state of California that is dedicated to enhancing the academic success and personal growth of African American men and men of color. And so Bakersfield College recently being designated as a Black serving institution.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that we are catering to the needs of African American students. And this is just one of those programs that does that, particularly for the African American males. And so for any student, but particularly for African American males, there's can be a lot of different challenges and barriers to making sure that they are successful in a college setting. And so this is just a program that serves their needs and allows them to be more successful. So there's cultural programming, there's social programming, there's academic programming, a variety of conferences. We'll sponsor trips, all designed to get them to feel comfortable, have a sense of belonging at the institution, being able to navigate the system. Because a lot of being successful is being able to have some confidence in yourself and then knowing something, right? If you need a service, but you don't know where to go to get it, what's going to happen? You're not going to get the service.
Right.
So it's not a program that will hold somebody's hand. It's a program. I look at it this way. I'm going to communicate to students, look, I'm going to do my part, helping you get what you need. You got to do your part. Take advantage of the services. Do what you need to do in the classroom. Take it upon yourself to become a better person, a better man, understanding the responsibility that's going to be upon your life. So this program is going to be able to enhance that, support that. And I'm excited to be the program manager for the program.
Yeah. And this may be a little bit controversial. I've been talking about this now for weeks because of current events. I'm not going to allude to that because I don't want to draw you into a discussion about current events. But I feel there's an issue within our culture.
Yes.
That our young men are too quick to go from 0 to 1,000. They're too quick to keep their eyes on the prize and embrace the idea that this is the magic bullet for you. I don't care who you are. I don't care what your past is. I don't care where you come from or how much money you get. But if you can embrace education, this is your magic bullet. And a program like this instills that in these kids, I think.
Most definitely. I would agree wholeheartedly. You know, one of the things that's interesting, I was just looking up some different statistics. And do you know that they have shown that there is in terms of African Americans' longevity, in terms of long life, there is actually a direct connection to home ownership.
Really?
Yeah, that if you own a home, you have a higher life expectancy. Well, what goes into owning a home? That's a serious expense.
Yeah, it is.
You know, and so much so that economics plays a big tie. Well, how does the education piece come into it? Well, from another statistical perspective, the more education you have, the more money you make. So though you don't necessarily have to have a 4-year college degree, one thing that's really important is you must get some level of education beyond high school.
Right.
Whether that be a trade, whether that be some type of training, it might be a formal education in terms of an academic degree, graduate degree, master's, doctoral degree. What needs to happen in our communities is the information needs to get to them so people can understand what are their options. How can they take advantage of an education to make a life better for themselves, to earn as much money as possible, to move into home ownership, to become citizens that are contributing to society in a positive way. And so this program is going to be able to help those young men do that.
Yeah, and it gives them an atmosphere in which to thrive.
Yes, sir.
Because they come in thinking, nobody's like me. Nobody's like me. Nobody's parents didn't go to college. They're the first person to go to college in their family. Nobody's like me. And they get there and they're like, everybody's like me. Or a large majority of these kids are just like me. And they get ensconced with this idea of, again, I've got an avenue now. And all you got to do is pay attention to people like you and other folks up in BC, and you're on your way. This is the opportunity. It's knocking, and open the door and go through it.
Yeah. And one of the things I also like about it, the historical African-American cultural pieces is because a lot of times, our traditional schools may not necessarily give some of our African-American students some interesting notations about the history of the country, different things that have gone on. For example, I think one of the critical cases in this country with regards to education, Brown versus Board of Education, that basically desegregated all of our schools. To me, that is so pivotal because that means everybody has access to education, and the amount of blood and tears that went into breaking those doors down, such that it's now a possibility. everybody should be willing to take advantage of an education.
And every black child should know that case. And they should also know who represented them.
That's
the
right.
first Supreme Court Justice, Thurgood Marshall.
That's right. Thurgood Marshall.
Every black child should know that.
Should know it because he was the lawyer that ran that case.
You're
And then, of
right.
course, became our first African-American Supreme Court Justice. Then followed by, what's the brother? Clarence Thomas. But now Ketanji Brown Jackson, the first Black woman Supreme Court Justice, and it goes on and on and on. And something else in terms of other firsts, something that we recently went through. I like to mention this because people don't know this. COVID. Did you know that one of the key persons that was able to construct the vaccine was an African American woman?
I did know that.
Yeah, and so even having that point, in fact, when I found that out, I was like, well, which one did she do? So she did the vaccine for Moderna. Okay, that's the one I want.
We're talking with Darius Riggins. He is part of AMEND. It's a program that is fostering capable, confident leaders and providing educational, cultural, and social programming. So give us, we're running out of time, but just give us a sense of how do you mentor these young men coming into school?
Yeah, well, we have to capture them early. On the way in. They have to buy into the program. We got to get them to be committed to take advantages of the resources. We're going to let them know where they got to go for their different services because colleges are set up for service. No college doesn't want people to come and then not be successful.
Sure.
We want them to get good grades. We want them to graduate. But we have to put in systems that's going to retain them so that they can do that. So whether it be academic advising, whether it be tutoring, whether it be providing resources that they need in terms of their basic needs, food even. We have a pantry, we have different services. And so to provide them with the foundation of what they need to be successful will promote that academic excellence and will promote them being engaged with the institution so they can feel that they belong. And then therefore they're going to become more comfortable and get more involved and be successful.
Yeah, absolutely. Where will you be on June the 19th? So many different events going on. Where should folks, I'm an African-American, I'm new to this community, I'm watching the Ralph Bailey Show on YouTube.
Yeah.
Where should I go for Juneteenth?
So this Saturday, I know that they're having a big event from 1 p.m. to 7 o'clock. I forget the name of the park. It starts with a J. Is right off of Truxton.
Jastrow?
Jastrow, yes. They'll be at Jastrow Park. So that's like the big community Juneteenth celebration. So that will be a great place because, there's going to be music. There's going to be vendors. There's going to be everybody, congregates there. And I've been to about, at least all of them within the last 4 or 5 years. They've been at various places around the city, but it's always engaging. And I would submit persons, if you're not African American, you can still come through.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not just necessarily a black thing. It is a part of American history.
Absolutely.
So everybody should be able to be comfortable and enjoy the events.
I'll leave you with this. Tell us about Darius Riggins. Where are you from? Are you from here? Where'd you go to school? How'd you end up at BC?
All right. I attended California State University Northridge for my bachelor's degree in Pan-African Studies.
Hey, are you from LA?
No, I went to college there. My father was in the military, 22-year lieutenant colonel in the Marine Corps.
Wow.
So we moved around a lot. Yes. We moved around a lot, but I spent most of my maturing years in Southern Cal, San Diego area, but again, went to college in LA at Northridge. Yes, sir. Got my master's in educational psychology, and I'm currently expecting to complete my doctorate at Cal State Bakersfield in educational leadership.
Nice. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Well, nice meeting you. It was great talking with you. I'm sure we'll talk to you again, and have a great Juneteenth weekend.
Thank you, sir. Pleasure was mine.
Appreciate that.
Right,
Darius Riggins, everybody, from Bakersfield College, almost a Bakersfield Country Club. No, not Bakersfield Country Club. Quick time out. We still got lots to do. We'll talk about the Williams sisters when we come back. We've got some other sports things to get to. Got some other audio that we haven't reached as well. You will hear from Jeremy Harrell. This Michelle Obama thing is getting up on its feet. And it's absurd and ridiculous. And still not a word from the White House. Dana White, the UFC organizer, blasted this thing, but not a word from the communications department of the White House, not a word from Donald Trump. And now there's like a theory. They've taken some audio out of context where Michelle was talking, the first lady was talking to an African American man, and was saying it warms her heart that he gets along with his children. And so what she said is, it warms my heart as a man. And then they cut it off. Where she said, it warms my heart as a man that you're embracing your son. That's not what they're playing. They're playing the part as a man, as if she accidentally referred to herself as a man. This thing is getting so stupid and ridiculous. And somebody in the chat room stumbled staggeringly, haphazardly into the truth. This was started by Joan Rivers. We'll play this audio about a month before she died. About to be sick. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. We're streaming live at kernradio.com. I mean, just give me a break. And
Kern
it's just 'cause
Radio,
she's black.
News
Ain't
Talk
nobody talking crap about Barbara
96.1
Bush.
and AM
And nobody talking
1230.
about Jill Biden lied her ass off that her husband was
First Look
okay.
with Scott Cox.
And
Morning
then said
6
she
to
had
9
thought she was having a
On the
stroke.
Thursday edition of the First Look program,
thanks
we
for
will
coming
chat
in, man.
with
We
local
appreciate it.
psychologist Dr.
Anytime you
Corey
got something going
Gonzalez.
on.
We will have burritos,
Absolutely.
and yes, that second thing is better than that first thing. We will have state-of-the-art
Hey,
news
anytime
and
you got
traffic, and
anything
yes,
going
weather.
on,
It's not as bad as
just
you
hit
think.
Belinda.
It's all
She's got my
happening
number.
6 to 9
And
a.m.
just
right
give me
here
a
at
call.
News Talk
She'll get you in.
96.1 and
Yeah,
AM
okay, cool.
1230 KERN.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN.
I think there's one thing that we can all agree upon, those of us who have visited Luigi's Restaurant and Old World Delicatessen, and that is that the warehouse has been an absolute game changer.
I don't think
I know
so
there's some folks that have
Not-
never
not
been to
Ivy League.
Luigi's, but have been to the warehouse.
League
There are a
and
number
had
of
a
events,
legal,
fundraisers, all kind of things that go on there.
You'd be hard
Chino
pressed to find
serves
a
up the
first lady
Chateaubriand with the Saco beans. Are you kidding?
All right,
With
Pops.
the
Appreciate it, man.
chicken
Thanks
choice as well. Where would you rather be? And of course, I've told you how to go about Luigi's on a Friday or a Saturday. I'd start in the deli, check out some of the Italian wines, talk to Lynette, who's one of the best sommeliers you'll ever run into. Then go have a cocktail with Julie as you're waiting to be seated. And then maybe go out to the Bailey Bar or inside. It's a little hot these days, but where would you rather be than at Luigi's Restaurant and Old World Delicatessen, longtime sponsor of the Ralph Bailey Show.
You can't escape a traffic jam. Know what else you can't escape? Seasonal allergies. And you might think you can avoid that coffee stain until... Oh, really? You can't escape a lot of things in life, but you can escape prediabetes. Prediabetes captures 1 in 3 adults. There are usually no signs of prediabetes. In fact, most people don't even know they have it. But with early diagnosis, you can change the outcome and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. Take action by taking the 1-minute risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org. You might not be able to escape having this song stuck in your head, but you can escape prediabetes. Go to doihaveprediabetes.org today. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
Attention, Medicare beneficiaries in Kern County. Are you looking for a doctor who truly listens, someone who cares about your health and respects your time with minimal wait times and prompt referral authorizations? Well, it may be time to learn about QualCare IPA. QualCare IPA partners with most Medicare Advantage health plans, giving you access to a large, community-based network of outstanding physicians and quality hospitals right here in Kern County. Local doctors, trusted hospitals, personalized care. Medicare Advantage plans offer benefits beyond original Medicare, but understanding your options for 2026 can feel overwhelming. That's where we can help. Call 661-554-4544 today to learn more about your Medicare Advantage choices. Our knowledgeable team is ready to help you understand your coverage options and make confident decisions about your care. Again, that's 661-554-4544. Get the information you need and the coverage you deserve. For accommodations of persons with special needs at meetings, call 661-554-4544, TTY 711.
Hey, it's JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show.
Riggins joining us. Juneteenth coming up. Can you imagine being a slave 2 years longer than you had to have been? Just because there was no real communications going across the country. I don't even think Texas was a state in 1865. Leave us find out. I think they were a country in 1865, the Republic of. Hey Siri, when did Texas become a state?
Texas was founded December
I
29,
was wrong.
1845.
1845. I should have known that because they were involved in the Civil War. But I guess you could have been a separate country and still have been involved. But 1845, I did not know that. 842-537-61. We got a couple of minutes till we get to the bottom of the hour. What do you got on the board?
I think Michelle Obama's unlikability has nothing to do with her race. I think you're being a little over race sensitive.
Let me explain something to you that apparently you don't understand. At no point in the last 72 hours have I talked about the likability of Michelle Obama. In fact, yesterday I went out of my way to ignore the likability. Now, you can either go back to yesterday's show or you can listen to what I'm about to say because this is what I said yesterday. I don't give a damn whether you like Michelle Obama or not. I don't give a damn whether you voted for Michelle Obama or not. She's a first lady. Period. End of sentence. She is a Princeton graduate, which about 8% of you could get into that are watching me and listening to me now. She has a law degree, which maybe about 5% of you could pass the bar in the state of Illinois. And she was a very successful attorney and first lady of the United States. I don't give a damn whether you think I think my audience likes Michelle Obama. You think I'm that stupid? You really think you think you guys are fans of hers? You can't stand Obama, you can't stand her. I don't care about that. We're not talking about her likability. Everybody hates Hillary, but I don't see anybody saying that Hillary's a man. We're talking about questioning her gender, despite the fact that she's obviously had a gynecologist for about 40 years. She's given birth to 2 children, and those 2 children in their 20s, imagine your daughter or your granddaughter having to deal with kids or their young adults giving them crap because some idiot, and now others, because after the break, I'm going to play you some audio of some moron who truly believes there's a theory that she's a man. And I'm not talking about that moron, Alex Jones. I'm being racially sensitive because there's a discussion in America that one of our 45 first ladies is truly a man, and that beyond James Buchanan, Barack Obama is a gay man, and they've been putting on this farce for 40 years with their 2 children, and I'm racially sensitive? No, you're an idiot. That's the issue. Her likability, I was never a big fan of the Obamas, but the stupidity has forced me to get in their corner. Her likability, oh, good God Almighty.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. President Trump said he signed an agreement with Iran Wednesday that U.S. officials say calls for Tehran to dilute its stockpile of highly enriched uranium and waive sanctions on the country, immediately allowing Iran to sell its oil freely in a major concession from Washington. Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, who helped mediate the initial deal to end the war, said it is taking immediate effect after leaders from both countries signed it, but there will still be a formal signing ceremony on Friday. The Federal Reserve kept its key rate unchanged Wednesday, yet nearly half the central bank's policymakers said they could support a rate hike later this year, an unexpectedly aggressive outcome that would disappoint President Trump and suggest heightened concerns about persistent inflation. More details at srnnews.com.
Are you carrying more than $10,000? Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. Headlines from the KERN newsroom.
Chris Davis. The 8 people killed in the Monday crash at Edwards Air Force Base as released today by the Air Force. And they are 53-year-old Colonel Gregory Watson of Shreveport, Louisiana, 40-year-old Lieutenant Colonel Gabriel Estrella, a weapons systems officer from Edwards Air Force Base, retired Lieutenant Colonel Miles Middleton, age 50, a pilot from Tehachapi, 34-year-old Major Alexander Davis, a weapons systems officer from Lancaster with the 419th, Major Robert D., age 40, a pilot also with the 419th Test Squadron, Edwards Air Force Base, Major Brad Hovey, age 35, a pilot with the 419th, 32-year-old Jeremy Smith, a flight test engineer with the 419th from Rosamond, and 41-year-old Christopher Risher, a flight test engineer and a contractor from Lancaster. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 at AM 1230, KERN.
Step into the spotlight at the all-new and always thrilling Hard Rock Casino Tejon, just 15 miles south of Bakersfield. Play your favorites across over 2,000 slot machines, plus baccarat, blackjack, roulette, and craps. And with Unity, whatever you do, you get rewarded. Play here and redeem at other Hard Rock properties. Enjoy live entertainment, exceptional dining, and energy only Hard Rock can deliver. Hard Rock Casino Tejon. It all happens here. Must be 21 or older. Concerned about your gambling? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
First Look with Scott Cox, mornings 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Thursday edition of the First Look program, we will chat with local psychologist Dr. Corey Gonzalez. We will have burritos, and yes, that second thing is better than that first thing. We will have state-of-the-art news and traffic, and yes, weather. It's not as bad as you think. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m. right here at News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Hey folks, Scott Cox here, host of the First Look with Scott Cox radio
I beg your pardon.
program. You are listening to the Ralph Bailey Show right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
All right, so for those, hang on a second. All right, so this is a bit long, and I wasn't going to play this today. I really wasn't. I sent it to Chris, but I wasn't going to play it today because it's long, and I really didn't want to re-enter this discussion. But since I'm being a little racially sensitive, that just one of the 45 first ladies was called a man on national television. And now others are climbing on board and really creating a theory on why that she's a man. And I'm being racially sensitive. Have you ever asked yourself why you're not defending Mrs. Obama? Have you ever asked yourself that? Why you would call into a radio show and say that the guy that is defending the former first lady is being a little too sensitive? As if I could call you a man and you'd be good with it. Like if I knew you and knew your first, last name, and social security number and the name of your children, and if I got on this tiny little microphone, because the microphone that idiot from Wasco got on was a gigantic international microphone. I just talked to a couple of thousand people a day. And you're telling me that if I knew who you were, and I said, Joanne Mary Smith is a man, and your children have to deal with that, and your family, and people are coming up to you. Why is Ralph Bailey saying you're a man? I listen to Ralph every day. He said you're a man, and you wouldn't have an issue with that. I'm just being racially sensitive. I would defend Barbara Bush just as vehemently as I'm defending Michelle Obama. If she was disrespected on the lawn of the White House, I would defend Jill Biden. If Hillary Clinton was still in office, I would defend her. If somebody said something as moronic as these people, here is Jeremy, I don't give a damn what his last name is. I'm not going to give him recognition. I want you to, this is rather long. It's about 3 minutes. I don't know, maybe 2. But I want you all to hear every freaking minute of it.
Look, I got to ask, why is everybody so mad that Josh Hokett of the UFC said Michelle Obama is a man? Am I right, America? Why is everybody mad about that? I don't understand. If he said Michelle Obama is a giraffe, would she be upset? Would the world be upset? Would the left be losing their minds? Would everybody be melting down? If Josh Hokett said that Michelle Obama was actually a superhero, she was actually Wonder Woman, would anybody get upset? If he called her a cat or an astronaut, would anybody be upset? No. The only reason that everybody's upset is because it's true. Now, left-wing hosts of shows are saying Michelle Obama should sue the UFC for defamation, and she should sue Josh Hokett for defamation. Well, she's not going to do that. He's not going to do that because that would come with discovery. And they don't want the world to realize that there's no baby pictures, no pregnant pictures of Michelle Obama, no high school pictures of her being a girl. They don't want that. But again, even if Michelle Obama was a man who is claiming that she's a woman, don't they stand on that? Why would they be so mad? I thought anybody who identified as a woman was a woman. So what would a UFC fighter's opinion matter? If A, it wasn't true, or B, even if it was true, why would it be an insult? I thought that anybody who claimed to be a woman was a woman. That's what I thought. What's the problem here? And for her to get mad over something that isn't true lets you know that it is true. And for all the people like Sterling Sharp and Chris Cuomo who think that they're so big and tough, saying that Josh Hokett isn't a real man and somebody should shut that man up, go do it. Go ahead. He's only a former NFL all-star running back who came to the UFC and is undefeated and beating the piss out of every hard-hitting legend in the UFC's heavyweight division. Go do it. Hey, Sterling Sharp, go do it. Chris Cuomo, go do it. You go tell him how much of not a man he is for saying what he said. I bet you won't. So you got a bunch of cream puff, crybaby liberal men crying about what Josh Hokett said, but won't say it to his face. You got a bunch of whiny crybaby, I don't know what a woman is, females, saying, I can't believe that we've stooped to this low where he'd say something like this. But again, if it's not true, then why so mad? If he came out and said Michelle Obama was a giraffe or an astronaut, nobody would bat an eye because it's not true. They only get mad when it is true. And Michelle Obama is a man. That's a man, baby. The manliest of men.
That's who you're in bed with. If you thought it was funny or you truly believe that this woman is a man, that's that guy with an IQ of about 45. I don't even know where to begin to start tearing it up. It's true because she's mad about it. So it has to be true that she's a man because she's mad. There's no proof that she's mad. Who said she's mad? I'm mad because you've insulted a first lady. There's no record. She just spoke. Did I send you Michelle? Here is, this is from last night. Here is Michelle Obama.
I am so proud of my husband. He's really messed up. I'm giving him some time because this beautiful skirt that my stylist Meredith Coop picked out, that is a portrait, my favorite portrait of my mom. He didn't know it existed until just a few minutes ago. Marion would have been so proud. She was so proud of her son-in-law and the man that he is and has been to our family. Always dreaming probably way too big, but always pulling it off. Thank you for doing this for the South Side of Chicago. I love you.
Thankfully, and I say this oddly, but thankfully her mother passed away a year ago. I'm sure she's heard this talk before because it began with Joan Rivers before Joan Rivers died. But imagine if you're the mother of Michelle Obama and you have to hear this nonsense. And why do I accentuate this? Why am I talking about it again? Because it shows that racism is alive and well in the 21st century. Oh, it's thriving, and in a complete different manner in which I grew up. Racism was blatant in the 70s. Now it's very subtle. It's very subtle, where you challenge Black folks that you don't like because they're Black, but it's politically incorrect to attack them for their Blackness. So you find another way to try to belittle a woman who is more educated than about 95% of y'all. She's succeeded in life about 99.8% of all of y'all. And it's the only thing I can conclude is envy, jealousy, or just pure hatred of Black people who are incredibly successful. You'd have hated my dad. You'd have hated my dad. An incredibly successful kid from a town like Beaufort, South Carolina, graduating from Robert Smalls, and he was probably more intelligent than 95% of y'all and succeeded more than 95% of y'all as well. You'd have hated him. Because let's face it, white folks don't like successful Black people. They used to call them uppity Negroes, and I cleaned that up. That's what this is about. Let's belittle these Negroes who have the audacity to live in our White House. That's all this is about. It's all about race. And now there's this theory, they're using this cut up audio, they're using some bite where Obama called her Michael. Yeah, they've been hiding this for 40 years, and yet they're still screwing it up. I mean, just the idea that I am on my radio show defending Michelle Obama's gender and being told by idiot listeners that I'm being racially sensitive, that she just isn't likable. This ain't got nothing to do with likability, because I ain't never heard one of y'all talk crap like this about Hillary, and I would assume we all despise this woman who is actually a criminal, who has actually committed crimes. The Obamas are the epitome of morality and being above board and openness, and it's just pure hatred of Black people that causes a moron like that to say just the thing, and that he lies, that you can pick up a phone and put this out there and just lie. There are no baby pictures of her. I've seen them. There are no pictures of her in junior high school, because I watch her podcast with her brother Greg. I just saw her picture in little pigtails when she was a child. And what is amazing is, and it's incredible I have to say this, it's pretty easy to prove. Either way, it's pretty damn easy to prove that she's a woman, and if she were a man, it'd be pretty easy to prove. And this Neanderthal's evidence is that he can't find any pictures of her. Like, I've seen pictures of her at her high school. I've seen pictures of her in grade school. She obviously has a gynecologist. She obviously went to a hospital twice. But nobody wants to dig into it. They just want, because if you were a reporter, if you were an investigator, and you truly believe this would be pretty easy to prove. Just like the idea that Barack wasn't born in this country. When have you ever heard that? John McCain was literally not born in this country, and nobody ever brought that up. Now, granted, it was legal because he was born on a military base outside of the country, but nobody even alluded to that. And he actually wasn't born in this country. And what did your boy and all the other lunatics foster? That he was born in Kenya. He wasn't born in Hawaii, that there was this mass conspiracy. You've never seen anything like this. So don't tell me, don't you dare lecture me about my motivation or the motivation of you bigots. That's right, I said it. You damn racists. You hate these people because they're tremendously successful Black people. And you don't meet those people in Bakersfield because there aren't really a lot. There's a handful. Bowers, Morgan, Clayton, Curtis Floyd. They're a handful, but not a lot. Traco, Matthews. And you probably resent the hell out of them too. Why? Because you're a bigot. And the craziest, horrible thing about this country is that there are a bunch of you who are racists and bigots, and you don't even know it. You honestly think you have an open heart. But you're like, well, she does look like a man, Ralph. I asked somebody the night before, and she told me, yeah, I think she's a man. I'm not going to say who it was or where I was, but if you follow the show, you know where I was the other night. So you can pretty much logic it out. It was not the owner of the establishment. Let me just put it that way. It was not the owner of the establishment. But one of the employees told me that they thought that Michelle Obama was a man. But I guess I'm just being racially sensitive. Has nothing to do with the disrespect of 40. Only one of 45 people have ever been First Lady. But she doesn't deserve any respect. Went to a small public high school. Her father worked for the city. Her counselor told her she could never get into Princeton. She got into Princeton. They told her that she would never survive at Princeton. She graduated summa cum laude. They told her that she should study a trade. She'd never be an attorney. She has her law degree. And she had the wherewithal and the intelligence to marry a man and see something in that man, and they climbed to the highest position in this country. And yet there are people, and that's why you know this is racism, because they're not even in the news. You would think if you want to go to the White House and make some proclamation about a former president and his wife, you bring up Jill and Joe. You'd follow the playbook of Donald Trump. Do you understand it's been 10 years since them black folks left the White House? And y'all still can't get over it. It's been a decade since they left DC, and y'all still can't get over it. But it's not about race. No. Joe had a crackhead son who smoked crack and videotaped himself, then put it in a laptop and left it at some laptop service place. He's practically senile. Jill lied, claimed that he was having a stroke, and now is running around selling a book. But I don't see y'all attacking her. The Obamas never had any crack kids. Their kids are stars in their 20s, thriving in the motion picture industry. A black girl, young black girl, thriving in the motion picture industry. And the other girl, I don't know what she does, but she's thriving. They didn't have any crack babies like Hunter Biden. But do you all attack Jill? Do you question her gender? Of course not. You want to go 10 years back and pick on the black folks. But it's just a coincidence, Ralph. It's her unlikability why we're picking on her, not the melanin in her skin and the fact that I'm a white guy and she achieved more than I'll ever achieve in my life if I live to be 150. Last time I'm going to talk about it. But it's life. It's reality. And if you can't face that, then I'm sorry. I'm willing to say Carmelo Anthony committed murder. I'm willing to say Carmelo Anthony's black people are horrible human beings. And you all can't even denounce an idiot claiming that one of the 45 first ladies is a man. Who's narrow-minded? Who's myopic here? I call out black folks every single day. Hell, I call out the black community. When you're talking about Carmelo Anthony, I talked about our culture and our ability to be disrespected, because that's why that kid shoved a knife in his kid's chest. He was disrespected. I told you about a story I wrote when I was in my 20s in the Sentinel about a kid that got shot in Jordan Downs because the kid stepped on his Michael Jordans. I've talked about my race as a community, and you all aren't even willing to admit, yeah, I got a little boogity in me, Ralph. I'll admit it. I think it's funny that they're picking on this black girl. You're right. You're not even willing to admit that. Okay, fine. Let's go. Get me out of here. So angry, I don't know what to do. I really thought when I was 30 that by the time I got this age, we'd be in a much better place racially. Little did I ever suspect that it would only get worse It's worse because now it's subtle. At least when I was in the 70s, we dealt with it. A kid would call me the N-word and we'd roll on the ground and but a bit, but a boop. But now it's subtle. Because now it's not politically correct to be racist. But if you do it in the terms of politics, under the big MAGA umbrella, we're not picking them because they're black. We're just picking them because they're Democrats. Save it. Don't nobody believe it. Or at least I don't. Final time out of the night. Not that anybody's listening at this point, Burdick. It's just me and you at this point. A couple of black folks are hanging in there, screaming and yelling. Go, Ralph, go. But other than that, it's just about the 8 of us. That number is going to pop up. It's going to be like 27. And I don't care. 63 years old. I'm on the 15th hole, Jack. I'm about to check out of here. You kidding me? I'm literally about to check out in about 9 minutes. I think I'm going to KC's again. I'm getting text messages already. I may not even answer them. I think I'm going to KC's Steakhouse. I think I need a couple of JDs. No, not Jack Daniels. I gave that up 15 years ago. I've got my new cocktail, the John Daly. Little lemonade, little tea, and a whole lot of Kettle One. Final time out of the night. Keep it locked. Scott Jennings at the top of the hour. Tomorrow's a Thursday. Mr. Turnseed wrapping up his vacation, but Mr. Daniel Petrie will be here. I don't know if they're coming home tonight, so I doubt if we'll have our friend Nick Ragone. You know what we might do? I might reach out to Jim Park, head pro at Bakersfield Country Club, and very close friend of Manav Shah. If you're not aware and you haven't been with us today or throughout the week or so, local BCC pro Manav Shah has qualified for the U.S. Open. He tees off at what time tomorrow? 11:15 our time?
11:15 our time, yeah. Or 11:45, I think, actually. Now I think about it.
Yeah.
I think it was 2:45 their time.
So you'll catch him on television tomorrow. I don't know when the coverage starts. It's on NBC, which probably means it's on the USA Network during the day. Or yeah, because ESPN is ABC, right? So yeah, it's either on NBC or maybe on the USA channel. As they say in television, check your local listings. Final time out of the night. You've been listening, all 8 of you that are still with me. The Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, where we're streaming live at KERN. Pamperi Nasha Moringa! Back to Africa!
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. First Look with Scott Cox, mornings 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Thursday edition of the First Look program, we will chat with local psychologist Dr. Corey Gonzalez. We will have burritos, and yes, that second thing is better than that first thing. We will have state-of-the-art news and traffic, and yes, weather. It's not as bad as you think. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m. right here at News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN. Lenny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use, now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu. My Computer Career, an elite CompTIA certification partner.
It worked for me, and I know it can.
Whenever you're ready.
Three, two. Don't give me this nonsense that this man theory of Michelle Obama has nothing to do with race. It has everything to do with race. We have never disparaged a first lady in the manner in which the people are going after Michelle Obama 10 years after they left the White House. 10 years. And y'all just can't let it go that them black folks lived in the White House. Play that for a month. Sons of bitches. Tomorrow's Thursday. Petrie, there's something else going on tomorrow.
RFC returning?
I don't think so. There's something else. Well, we'll find out tomorrow.
World Cup? No, World Cup's Friday.
No. Oh, I haven't heard back. That's right. I reached out to Laura Hania, the one with put the fan thing together today. And she said she couldn't today. I said, well, come on tomorrow and take a victory lap. But I never heard back from her, I don't think. What are we doing tomorrow? 3, 2, it's that man again. Look what's coming up on the Thursday TRBS. Well, we're going to reach out to Jen Park, head pro at Bakersfield Country Club, and a good friend of Manav Shah, who's participating in Thursday's first round of the U.S. Open. And, of course, our money man, Daniel Petrie. All of that plus me at 3. It's TRBS. News Talk 96.1 AM 1230. I'll see you at 3.
You won't even have to move or tent your house. Protect your home and save. Call Ryans today. That's RyansTermiteControl.com.
Hey, it's JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, starting at 1 p.m. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Wrap up like a douche and on a roller in the night, blinded by the light.
You know, when we were kids, we thought he was saying wrapped up like a douche. I swear to God. Like, how are you wrapped up like a deuce? What does that mean? So we just assumed he's saying douche. I don't know. A very dear friend has written me. She says, that has to be said, Ralph. Thank you for your voice, telling it like it is. Never stop the tirade against racism. You know, I was thinking about her when I was going off. I really was not. I was thinking about you because she has sent me other text messages where she suggests that I start writing again. I don't have time to read that to you. You can see how long it is. But she suggests that I start writing. I used to write. Well, I was a correspondent for the Californian, and I was a short-lived staff writer. And then they brought me back like 3 years later to write a column, and I did that for about 3 years. And I might write this as a community voice. This whole, oh, this isn't about race, Ralph. This attack on the Obamas. I might write something about that this weekend, maybe, or maybe even tonight. Although I write well high, but I don't write well after 3 John Dailies. That's when I get sloppy and I read the sentence back and I'm like, that just doesn't make sense. High, you just ramble. It's like, Ralph, do you understand the grammatical punctuation point called a period? You know what I'm saying? You get high and you get on a roll and you look down and the whole Stinson bag is one sentence. You're like, yeah, we got to clean this up, but I'm going to wait until I'm sober. You know what I'm saying? Want to thank Nick Ragone. We apologize for waking up my good friend. And, of course, the man Allstines. But in the meantime, for Chris Burdick, I'm Ralph Bailey. That's what's really going on, and I'll wrap you tomorrow.
Kern Radio, AM 1230, KERN. 96.1 FM, K241CI Bakersfield, an American General Media station.
Hour from Town Hall, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. A significant development involving the agreement between the United States and Iran. President Trump signs a deal while dining at Versailles.
The press on hand as President Trump leaves the dinner with the French president and his wife. President Trump shouting to reporters that he has in fact signed the Memorandum of Understanding with Iran. The White House says the agreement is now in effect, which would mean the Strait of Hormuz could open.
Correspondent Laura Winters reporting. The deal calls for Tehran to dilute its stockpile of highly enriched uranium and waive sanctions on the country, immediately allowing Iran to sell its oil freely in a major concession from Washington. Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, who helped mediate the deal to end the war, said it is taking immediate effect after leaders from both countries signed it, but that there will still be a formal signing ceremony on Friday. Georgia lawmakers will not redraw the state's political maps this month after GOP Governor Brian Kemp called them into a special session to do so. Georgia's Republican State Senate President pro tempore Larry Walker III says his party rejects the governor's call for 2028 redistricting in special session.
We believe it would be wise to allow the judicial process to further develop in other states and evaluate how courts rule on newly adopted district maps elsewhere. With this guidance, we are confident that Georgia's new districts will ultimately withstand legal scrutiny and that Georgia will prevail in defending these maps before the courts.
He also said they did not have enough time to take up redistricting in the current special session.